There's 2 Chill Sound hoops.
That's what I said, but it's a troll.
One.
Don't feed into it. All right, Fluent. We are live, and we want to hear this rant. What's going on?
My off-air rant. Okay, I'll make it an on-air rant. My son, as you know, is playing his first year of organized rep baseball. Shout out to Fluent Jr. for making the team. I've never been. I try not to get invested because they're kids. They're kids, but I have never been so shocked at the horrible refereeing / umpiring I saw today.
You know why, Tom? You know why? Because you're a parent now. It always sucked, just so you know. It's just that you're a parent now. It's always terrible, just so you know. It's always been like
another player, not my son. So it's not like I'm capping for my kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Literally, he's running from first to second, and he goes over the ball, and the ball goes between his legs, and he rounds second, goes to third, and scores.
Mm-hmm.
After he scores, the person who had hit the ball tried to run out a single and turned it into a double and gets thrown out at second.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So of course the run scores because the run was scored. He made it to first safely, and then he tried to go for 2. He says, "Nope, the ball hit the runner's leg."
No, it didn't.
Out automatically. And I asked the question, and I said, "How did it go straight? How did it hit his calf and not like it went dead straight through his calf? Like that's pretty amazing." And at this age group, they get five pitches, right? So you can have 5 strikes basically.
Mm-hmm.
So the ump says strike 3. Cool. Another batter, again, not my son. Swings and misses. Strike 5.
Oh.
I'm like, whoa, are we going by 2s? Are we going? And everyone's like, and even the batter.
Physics and math.
How do we go from 3 to 5? How do we go from 3 to and like this is like LeBron math? I don't understand. How do we go from 3 to 5? And then it gets worse. So there's a mercy rule if you get 7 runs in 1 inning.
Mm-hmm.
So the boys put up 7 runs in an inning. And
the show should have been over. It should have been done.
They were up. They were down by 1 run. They go up. They score 7 runs. So it's called like a mercy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's lightning, and they go, "Oh, the game is called. The 7 innings don't count. The 7 runs don't count." And we go back to the previous inning where you were down by 1, so you lose.
Wait a minute. What are we doing?
I'm like,
what's happening right now?
I go play the bottom of the 5th, then you.
I don't get it.
None of that makes sense.
So
What's happening?
It's very frustrating as a parent because this is the same team. They were up 10-3, rained out, game didn't count. Like they have the worst luck I've ever seen them. Every time they're winning, it seems the sky's open. But anyways.
Well,
this is why I hate baseball, Sebastian. This is why I hate baseball. I see.
Look, let me tell you guys something. First of all, Fluent, think about this. So we know that Jay, I know we don't want to talk about this, but AI, okay? AI is soon to be, filling those roles of doctors, dentists, gas attendant, whatever you could think of.
Umpires
imagine,
and %.
Imagine an AI ref. No mistakes. It'll be specifically calculated and hopefully fair and equal. And that's what we need. That's the one position that I can be like, all right, maybe I can ride with AI on this one.
You know what drives me nuts? That you bring up. So in tennis, they have this excellent technology, right? You can see the ball if it hits, whether it's on the line or not. Like, have you seen this in tennis?
No.
Okay, so it's all computer generated, and the ball hits. You see it exactly because if it's on the line, if it even touches the line, it's in. If it doesn't touch the line, and I mean it is perfect.
Yeah.
In baseball, you have the square box, and you can see now some are close. I get it, but you can see like times when the ball is clearly in the strike zone, and they're calling balls, or it's clearly outside, and it's a strike. And that's what actually drives, I think, a lot of people crazy about baseball is that. Every umpire has their own strike zone. Every umpire, this guy calls it really tight. Oh, this guy has a really wide. Oh, this guy has a hot. No. How can you have a rule that's subjective? Could you be like, well, this guy gives you 3 pointers even if you're in the key? Like, could you imagine in any other sport.
That's not the way that works. That's not the way that works.
Yeah,
no.
Hey, if you want a 3-pointer on this guy, you got to hit it from center. Otherwise, he's calling.
No, that's not the way that works. No.
Oh yeah, we got those biases. Like with Scott Foster, we know if Chris Paul is in the game, there's going to be something going on. We know that, and that's okay. I mean, that's human bias. But if we can eliminate that, keep things fair and square, I might not have a problem with it. But anyways,
see, you get it. I'm telling you, there we go. I knew it was coming. H, they got you.
I
H.
know. Just like
because
Jason
now
Tatum finally getting on board with him, maybe AI too. I'm changed. I'm a changed
telling
person.
you, H. So, and just so you know, H, we're not going to stop with baseball refs. Okay, we're going to move that over to football too. Okay, we're going to move that over to football, and we're going to move it over to basketball too.
Yeah, that's what that's where we need it. Absolutely.
I've always said this. We know that the refs on the field, the issue is they don't want to be like, even the replays, they don't want to be shown up. That's why you see so many replays and we can see it and we're like, oh, that's clearly is a foul, not a foul. And then the refs still call it no, ruling on the field stands. And you're like, what? Be a second set of officials up in the booth, the best ones, like you promote. That's where you get promoted to, right? Up in the booth that have the AI technology, and they're just up there, and they have a mic, and they're calling down to the refs and correcting them so that no one knows they got the play wrong, right? They throw a flag, and here you go, and they get the play right, because sometimes it's that fast you can see on a replay whether it's in or I don't think there's enough. Again, or just eliminate replay and be like, hey, human error, it's fine. No problem. It's part of the game.
But that's what I was thinking, Tone. I mean, ain't that a part of it though? The human error.
Then let it be. Then get rid of replays and everything. Because this in the middle nonsense where it's like human error, but only on certain plays. Oh, but you can challenge those. No, either everything is right or let it be. Let it be. That's all. Let it be. Let it be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in a mood.
I'm a little bit torn when it comes to that, Tone, because I just feel like when it comes to the human error aspect of it. I mean, it could be the difference between winning and losing, right? But shouldn't that be left up to me? Like if you blow it, I mean, if I throw the ball out of bounds, okay, that's part of the game. I screwed up. If I end up throwing a pitch that gets hit over the fence, all right, that's me. If I end up, I don't know, fumbling the football on the goal line, okay, that's me. But if Drew Brees is throwing a pass where his wide receiver clearly gets interfered with, and that's a pass interference, 100%, you can't blow that. You can't blow that. And because you blow that, now what you do is you change the course of history. Because what happens if the Saints end up beating the Rams and they go to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl? Are we talking about Drew Brees now?
A million things. Exactly. How
different are we talking about Drew Brees now? We're talking about Drew Brees way different today than, and again, I have no problem with human error, but the human error has to be me. When you have one job as an official, well, I don't have one job as an official, but I have to get it right as an official. I can't blow it. So the idea of this AI is scary, H. I'm telling you, it is.
I think you like it. I think you like it.
It's going to turn into something else, man. I can't say with 100% certainty that I'm feeling it. I don't. Can't say that I'm loving it, but it is what it is. That.
What are we talking about today, anyways? I feel like I'm ill prepared for today's episode because I've been
Tone is out the loop.
Yeah. You guys been running around Seattle, partying, having a good time.
Okay. First of all, let's take the party aspect out of it. Just so you know, we was working way more than we was partying. Let's get to the bottom of that right now.
Look, see, I said partying, and she took off. She left.
We was definitely working, Tone. We was working way more than we was having a good. Even though we was having a great time, which I won't discount that, because Seattle was dope. The weather was fantastic.
See, I love Seattle. I've told you this before. In one of my jobs that I had, I was up in Seattle for a couple of days, maybe a week, every single month. I love the just the people are cool, the places to go. There's a lot of cool things that are like really close driving distance, walking distance if you're down where you guys were down by the water. And the sports, I was really, really surprised. Now, I wasn't surprised on Sunday when the Seahawks were getting like crazy fast, but really surprised me. I was there and there was a soccer game. I think it's called maybe the Seattle Storm, and the game let out. And I mean, there was a sea of that like fluorescent green color of their soccer team, and it just flooded the whole street. They just all came out. They were chanting. It was a great atmosphere.
And like I said, so Seattle, one of them places where, number one, Seattle is a sports town. That's the one thing that I found out when I was out there. Seattle is a dope sports town. It's not one of those places where, you know, you got fickle fans that they only come around once in a while. No, they support Seattle. They support the Mariners. They support the Seahawks, right? That's why basketball. The whole time I was up there, I was telling H that, yo, the NBA has to. I told at the H, I told at the Ron, like the NBA has to get back. The NBA has to be back in Seattle 100%. At some point. It has to be, man, on some level, because when you're talking about when you're talking about a sports town, when you're talking about a sports town, that's exactly what that's exactly what Seattle is. I had a great time when I was out there. Yeah, 100%.
And FIFA boy, I'm FIFA boy said, Fluent, you duck and chill. No, me and chill already hung out. Go to our previous shows, dude. We hung out. We did a show on a yacht. Come on,
we did.
Man. Listen,
in Tampa. Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. It was about a year ago, maybe 18 months ago. But listen, for those that don't know, this is coming soon. Let me know if you've received a bottle of this yet, Jay. But we have a new This is not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. We have a legit Fluent and Chill cologne fragrance. I don't want to call it a cologne. It's Fluent and Chill fragrance. It's available to come into you soon. Hailey's having some internet issues, so we are just jump into I don't even know what that's why I said I don't even know what the topics were. Do you have the topics? What do you want to talk about?
The first thing that we were going to talk about Oklahoma City, and we were going to talk about where they are and what the plan is in Oklahoma City this season. Because the idea was, Tom, which teams do you think in the NBA are going to make the biggest jump this season coming up? Of all the teams in the NBA, who do you see? Who do you see as a team that this season coming up, they're going to be a lot better, and the expectations for them should be this, as opposed to there's teams that are just coming out of nowhere. Who are the teams that you see this season? And one of the teams that we were going to talk about was Oklahoma City, because I think that they're a legit playoff team, right? I think they're a legit playoff team. I think that they have a budding star in SGA, and I think that they have a bunch of young complementary players who they're building something in Oklahoma City, and I love it. I love what they're doing in Oklahoma City. 100% I do.
So I know the theme, the show title is about the OKC Big Three and not making it. So we're going to get to that. So now we want to just talk about their team today. So their team today. So they finished 40-42 last year, and ninth in the West. They still should be in Seattle. SGA, obviously, like you said, that's a star. When you look at their roster, they have a lot of young players on that roster, right? Lou Dort is like 24, 25 years old. SGA is like 25 years old. Josh Giddey is like 20, 21 years old. What do you see? Who do you see being the person that is the leader? And I'm setting you up for something. I'm gonna be honest. Who is the person that you see being the leader of that team? Who, like, when they get down, is going to like lift them back up again. When they get too cocky, is going to bring them back down again. Like, who is that person that is the leader vocally on and off the court? Who is their vocal leader of that team?
I think it's their coach, to be honest with you. Of all the players, the young players that they have, if it's either their coach or it's Lou Dort, because Lou Dort has playoff experience. Lou Dort is their dirty work guy. If you ever notice how when you watch a team play, The dirty work guy is one of the vocal leaders. He's the energy guy. He's the emotional leader. He's that guy. So a lot of people automatically assume that the best player is the leader or the leading scorer is the leader. Well, that's not necessarily true in every case. You know, you have plenty of teams where, you know, the leader is the emotional leader. Like Marcus Smart was the leader in Boston. Jason Tatum isn't much of a vocal guy. Jaylen Brown isn't much of a vocal guy. Marcus Smart is your dirty work guy. He's your guy that does all the things that a lot of people don't want to do. Not only does he do a lot of things that people don't want to do, he's the one who keeps these guys in line because he's an older vet. So with that being said, Lou Dort might be, if he's not the oldest on that crew, he's one of the elder statesmen on that crew, right? Been to the playoffs, one of the dirty work guys. Him, and I think it's their coach, because their coach, he's still young enough to relate to the players, but still old enough where they'll listen to him and recognize when he says something that they have to respect that. So I think it's a combination of the two. When I think he needs Lou Dort to be that leader, but I also think that coach is too. Coach Mark D.
And I think that in a nutshell is my issue with OKC. Mm-hmm. Because when I look at the West, and I'm gonna pull it up because I'll forget a team, so I'm gonna pull it up so I don't forget anybody. When I look at the West from last year, we have Denver, who are the NBA champs. So you are always big on saying, right? You're the defending champs.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man.
That's what the belt is.
That's what
the belt is, Tone. That's where the belt is. You want it, come get it.
So Denver's going to be there. Has Memphis matured enough? Are they still talented enough to be in that upper echelon of the West? I believe the answer is yes. I believe they are. Mm-hmm. Sacramento. Do we think Sacramento is taking a step back, stagnant, or taking a step up? Let's say they stay the same. Well, that was good enough for third in the West last year, so they're going to be in that tier. Mm-hmm. Phoenix. Well, heck, Phoenix has all the talent, at least at the top of the most talent of any other team in the NBA at the top of their roster. Can they fill it out enough on the bench? So they're going to be expected to be up there.
Yeah.
The Clippers, again, that's a question mark. But again, you got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard. You have a team that, again, we're going to assume health. They're going to be there. Golden State. Mm-hmm. Golden State, they add Chris Paul. Is that, I don't know how he holds up, but let's assume they're going to be there, even if they decline a little bit. Okay.
Now, how many teams is that you just told me, Tony? I think I heard 5 teams.
That's 6.
Okay.
That's 6. And I haven't gotten to the Lakers, who I believe are improved.
Right.
Like, just being all together from last year, I think that was a huge step for them.
Right.
Minnesota. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe I told you last year it wouldn't work, but could Cat, Gobert, and Ant, who I think is going to take a step forward this year, could they be up in that conversation? I think the answer is yes. That's already 8 teams. Right. Then you get to OKC. And I was just going through last year's set. Then you get to OKC, who, again, is a year older, but here's where the leadership, I think, is going to be the question. Do we expect Dallas to be as bad as they ended up being last year?
I think they're a play-in team.
New Orleans? Did they get better or worse?
I don't think that they got worse. They have health issues. The team that you brought up that I'm thinking about, I'm thinking that the Memphis Grizzlies, as good as they are, you know, losing Ja for those first 25 games, getting Marcus Smart, that's going to be an adjustment. And losing their backup point guard, Trey, that's going to be huge. And the reason why that's going to be huge is because I personally think he's the best backup lead guard in the game. Now they don't have that. I mean, they still have Desmond Bane, who they paid. Steven Adams is coming back. They still got a young crew.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're still. That's why I said.
Yeah, they still have a young crew. So, however,
for Oklahoma is San Antonio is still going to stink.
Mm-hmm.
That's their hope. Houston is still, a year or two. Well, but I don't know. Houston brought in some Fred VanVleet, Corey Dillon. They didn't bring in those guys to lose. They brought in those guys to get better. So if Houston gets better, Portland is my wild card, right? Because they're going to be good, but they're going to be young. So
I'm out.
So I think Portland, San Antonio are young. Utah's out. So basically, I'm thinking Houston, Dallas, New Orleans, OKC, Minnesota, Golden State. Those are the 6 teams that are fighting for the 4 play-in positions. I think it's going to be,
which is fair.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be easy. I'm not saying OKC can't do it. I'm saying I think it's going to be a tougher road than maybe. I hope that they're ready for it.
Which that part I ain't fighting, Tone, because I do think it's going to be a lot harder than what people think. But I think with the experience that they have, we're getting Chet in the fold. There's a team like Memphis that I think you didn't mention the Clippers neither, Tone. But there's a team like Memphis. I already know how you feel about the paper clips, but Memphis, and I'm gonna tell you something that I'm not on the fence about. I don't think the Warriors are going to be that good this year.
Wow.
I don't think the Warriors are going to be that good this year. I don't think it was a coincidence that last year they were as bad as they were. I still think that Steph Curry is at the top of his game. I still think that he's one of the 5 best players in the game. I still think that. However, I think those other guys, Klay Thompson has been going the other way. Draymond, as good as Draymond is, I'm not sold. Even though they paid him, I'm not sold on Draymond. Kuminga still, they're waiting for him to catch up, and it hasn't happened as fast as they would like. They lost Wiseman. Moody has now has to step up. Yeah, they lost Wiseman, and I know
he wasn't really doing anything in their system.
I know how you feel about Wiseman. I thought that they didn't utilize him. I don't think they utilized him as good as they could have.
But is that what's up, Bama? Is that really a loss? They weren't using him correctly anyways. He wasn't really performing well in their system. So him being gone I don't really think it hurts them because he wasn't really doing anything for them. Where now I think those minutes, right now you're going to get Looney. You're hoping Kuminga, those guys, they need to take a step up. Here's the interesting part, and I know he's 107 years old, but has Chris Paul ever gone to a team and they got worse his first year?
No, he hasn't. But we're talking about a guy.
Does this become that first time? Does this become that first time?
I just think that with the crew, I think he's going to help them, Tone, and I think he's going to help them in a rotational role anyway. On any level. I don't think that he's a starter on that crew, but I do think that he's going to help them. And I think that they take a step back this season, considering that these young teams, Oklahoma City in particular, I think that they take a step forward. I think SGA is going to be better. I think now having that rim protector in Chet, I think he's going to be better. He can score it. I think Josh Giddey takes a step further. I think he takes another step up. Another guy that in Lou Dort, I would like to see them upgrade at the 2-guard spot, Tone, but I will tell you this. In the process of them upgrading at the 2-guard spot, I still love Lou Dort. And the reason why I dig Lou Dort is because he's the guy, he's the intangible guy. He's the guy that does what everybody else doesn't want to do, right? I love both the Williams kids, both of these guys. So this Oklahoma City team, I just think they're going to be a lot better. I do. I think they're going to be a lot better. I think that they're a bona fide playoff team this season. I don't think they're a play-in team. I think they're a bona fide playoff team this season.
I'm just going to invite. I know Hailey, you're in and out.
What up, Taz?
Yeah, sorry, I had to re-update my computer.
And that's okay. I'm just going to say I'm going to invite anyone to send in your super chats, and I think because of your technical issues, be ready, y'all, in the chat. I see over 200 people there, so make sure you get the lights up and be ready to come on with your best and or worst takes. I love when we do your worst takes. That's my favorite segment. BI better than KD. I love the worst take.
I've gotten so much heat for that too.
As
I get DMs of people like cussing me out. They're like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
I still get DMs that I'm crazy and I should jump off a bridge for KD ain't a superstar, and it's been over a year.
Yeah. People love their KD, but I agree with you, Jay. I love Lou Dort. Jay or Fluent, any from you, any playoff? I might have missed them, but any playoff teams that maybe you think are going to take a big jump?
So I was looking. So what I did was I was looking at the standings, and so we went through the West. We went through the West, and kind of, I think we covered enough of the West. I'm going to look at the East, and here's my problem. Is that and next week, I'm really excited for next week, by the way, just so everybody, I'm not meant to jump the gun, but next week we're going to look at NFL, all the 8, because there's always one last to first place team. So we're going to look at all 8 last place teams and see who we think is going to come up. But that being said, when I look at the East, I did the exact same thing in the West. This is what you missed. Is Milwaukee going to drop off? I don't think so.
No.
Is Boston going to drop off? I don't think so. Now, will they be better or worse than last year? But they're not going to disappear. Is Philly going to drop off? They're a big question mark for me because don't be surprised if Embiid gets traded. That's all I'm saying. Don't be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying don't be surprised. Cleveland. I think Cleveland is just, they get better. I said this 2 years ago, so this is the year, right? I said they're 2 years away. So this is the year, Cleveland. Don't prove me wrong. New York, listen, whatever you say about Julius Randle in the playoffs, he's a beast in the regular season. So I'm good with New York. Brooklyn. Is it crazy to say I think Brooklyn is better this year than they were last year with KD and Kyrie?
No.
Because I think they are. As a team, I think they are.
I don't think they'll have like a major increase, but I do think they'll have a better regular season.
Better, but I think can they win 45 games, which is what they did last year? Yeah.
Jay, why are you hesitant?
I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about win totals. Let's be clear. I'm talking about win totals.
Well,
at least they'll have players that play.
You think they're going to?
I think that's the difference right there, H. They're going to have players who play. Otherwise, I'm looking at the crew, and before KD went down, I mean, they were at the top of the East last year. But I do like this collection of talent that they have in Brooklyn. I like the correction of talent in Brooklyn more than I like KD and Irv. And the reason why I like this collection of talent more than KD and Irv is, number one, it's going to be less nonsense. The daily soap opera that's going on in Brooklyn, I don't think we're going to see any of that. I doubt very seriously that we're going to see any of that this season.
The one thing I know is that teams, more often than not always, but more often than not, take on the role of their best player. And who's the best player on the Nets?
Bridges.
And what is Bridges' kind of staple? Like, what is he known for?
He's a defender.
Defense.
So if everybody looks to their best player and their defense steps up even just a little, we know everybody, like when I say everybody, I mean most everybody in the NBA can score. So if you can score like you normally score and then add a little bit more defense because you're seeing your best player given that defensive effort, I think they're going to be a surprisingly good team. And again, I'm not setting the bar high. I'm saying 45 wins, what they did last year. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Then we got Atlanta.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't. Well, I was just going to say you can't forget. Yeah, go ahead.
Atlanta is an enigma wrapped in a conundrum. I have no idea what to think with Trae Young. He can be the best player in the league. He can be like number 100. Like, he's so talented and yet makes some boneheaded just plays. But anyway, so Atlanta's still going to be a 500 team, right? At least. Miami? Well, let's assume they're getting Dame. They're going to be good, right? Dame, Bam, Butler, they're going to be good. Chicago might be the one that takes a step back. Let's be honest. Chicago might be the one that takes a step back. Sorry.
Well, how much more of a step back do they need to take, Tony? I mean, they was in the play-in tournament last year and they didn't make the playoffs. So now they go from being in the play-in tournament to being a lottery team?
I believe so. I believe so. Okay, Toronto. Wow. Toronto, I'm telling you right now. Shout out to Ball Don't Stop. Shout out to Hip Hop Hoops. Shout out to On Point Basketball. Thank you for the invite. I'm going to try my best to come tomorrow. Tomorrow, Toronto. In Toronto is the Ball Don't Stop Pro-Am. And I'm just letting you know some of the people that we've been seeing in the city. A friend of mine was just sitting next to a certain guy that you think is the GOAT. He was at a restaurant in downtown Toronto, so I'm assuming he's going to be at the game tomorrow. That's LeBron James. I don't know who that is. So I'm going to try my best to get to that. My son has a baseball game, so it depends on the timing. Family first. But if not, I'm going to be at that Pro-Am. If not, I have my guys from On Point Basketball. They're going to record a bunch of stuff and send it to us. But from what I'm hearing, well, Corey Dillon's going to be there, Malachi Flynn, LeBron. I don't know if he's going to play or not, but Fred VanVleet's up from Houston. He's going to be here. There's going to be a lot of NBA players at the Pro-Am tomorrow. So I'm going to try my best to get down there. If not, I got people. Footage. I got some people. But I think Toronto is going to be like a 500 team at least, right? Again, assuming they don't trade OG or Siakam or whatever. So
I think Siakam is out, Tone.
You think
I
he's
think
out?
that team is. I think he's out. I think that unit is going to be built around OG and
Preseason?
Scotty. I think he's gone.
Is he going to be a part of that Miami trade, do you think?
I think so. Hey, I was wondering, like, do we have mods in our chat? Because like this Chill Town Hoops that just said Jack Boy All Talk. That's not me, guys. Just so you guys know, that is not me.
Who is that?
I did not write. I don't know who that is. It says Chill Town Hoops. Jack Boy is All Talk. If we had mods, if we could get rid of that, because that's not me.
Get rid of him right
Yeah,
now.
get rid of him right now, because that's not me. I want y'all to know that right now. That's not me.
Yes,
Chill Town
Hoops.
Yes.
How does he have the exact same name?
I don't know, but that's not me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he's out.
That is not me. Yeah.
He's out. I have that authority. Actually, I put him in timeout, but I'll ban him next time.
Yes. Thank you.
I clicked
that
wrong.
is not me.
So here are the teams that were when I say who's the team that's going to make a jump. Okay, who's the team that's going to make a jump? So I look at the teams that weren't in the play-in. So is Indiana going to make a jump? I don't think so.
I do think they're going to be better, Tone. I do think that they're going to be better. I think that Halliburton, I think he makes that crew a little bit better this season.
He's out.
I think he makes them a little bit. I think he makes them better than what they were last year. I do think that. Yeah, I do think that they're going to be better.
Play-in?
Well, don't forget before he got hurt, Tone, they were a top 5 seed.
Okay. All right. Well, then you got to back it up, Chill. So if Indiana makes a jump into the play-in or better, who's coming out?
Let's see. If Indiana makes it, well, the Bulls are out. I think the Bulls are out.
Bulls. There you go. You just have to pick one. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Bulls are out.
Is Washington?
No, I think Washington is garbage. I think they're at the bottom of the East. I think I think Charlotte is better than them.
Tyus Jones.
I think they're garbage.
Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's going to average like 30-something points a game.
I think they're going to be terrible. I do. I think that like we talk about teams that are going to be good all the time, Tone. We never talk about teams that's going to be garbage. I think Washington is going to be trash. I think they're going to be at the bottom of the league, 100%.
I would love Washington. Just a green light whenever. Oh, I would love that.
Whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, I love
it. Whenever you feel like it.
What about Orlando?
Orlando is going to be better. I do. In fact, I'm going to take it a step further than that. I think that Orlando, I think that they are going to be, well, they jumped Washington. I think that they jumped Washington. I'm going to take it a step further than that, Tone. I think they jumped the Bulls too. I think they right there teetering on that play-in tournament. I think they right there.
If they make it, who's the other team that you think is out? Because they got to replace somebody else.
So if Indiana is in.
Indiana in, Bulls out. So now you're saying possibly Orlando in. Who else comes out?
Atlanta comes out.
I exactly was thinking that's what
I'm out on Atlanta, Tone. I'm out on Atlanta. I can appreciate. I can definitely appreciate Quinn Snyder being a good coach, but when I think about Trae Young, as good as he is as a point guard, as dynamic as he is as a point guard, they finally traded John Collins. Finally,
and there's some interesting. I feel like Atlanta might be sellers this season. There's talk that people are interested in.
And I think that I definitely think that they're going to be sellers, because with the unit that they have, with the backcourt that they have with both Murray and Trae, it looks good. But Tone, they've been that tean.
I don't like that backcourt.
Well, with the exception of them going to the East Finals in 21, they've been 7-8. They've been mid at best.
I think that's
what they are.
I think that was a mirage.
Oh, absolutely. That was fool's gold. I'm not buying that. 100% that was fool's gold.
And if anyone else says Toronto, Sebastian, I will boot you out too. Okay, what about Charlotte? They got worse, right? They're gonna be worse.
I don't think they're gonna be worse, Tone. And the reason, here's why I don't think they're gonna be worse. Here's why I don't think they're gonna be worse. So they get Bridges back this season. We're getting Bridges back this season. That's another guy that LaMelo Ball has to score the basketball so he could get him involved. I think Brandon Miller is going to be a lot better than what people think. Like what you saw in the summer league, he did look a little lost, but now when the game speeds up and they're playing faster, LaMelo Ball is going to get him involved more in the offense in transition. I think he's going to be better. I'm a big fan of Mark Williams. I think that Mark Williams, the New York Knicks, and I'm on record saying this, the New York Knicks made a mistake passing on him, because I think he's better than Mitchell Robinson today. I think if Mark Williams was in New York, he's their starting 5-man. He's their starting 5-man today in New York. I'm not going to say Charlotte is a play-in team because I'm not going to go that far, but I do think that they're better than the bottom of the East where they were last year. I do think that.
I don't know. I feel no reason, just feeling, just gut that Charlotte is going to be the worst team in the East next year.
I do think Detroit's going to be better.
Yeah,
I do think that Detroit is going to be better. So Charlotte is at the bottom of the East next season.
Detroit, I think, is, if healthy, is talented. I love the move that they paid. They overpaid, but hey, we want a coach like Monty Williams. We paid to get him. And I think that's going to pay off. That's going to pay off like right in year one. So I think Detroit's going to be, look, I'm not saying much, but I think Detroit will be better than, I just have I don't know why I just have this. Charlotte is going to be very happy with the first overall pick next season.
So the number one pick and the number 2 pick and then the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah. And hopefully there's a big they could put with LaMelo and Brandon Miller, because that's where I think they're headed. That's where I think they're headed. All right. So previously, do you want to do the what ifs or do you want to do the OKC Big 3?
I'm down to do the OKC Big 3. Sure, let's do it.
All right. So the topic. You know what? Actually, no. Let's wait. Let's do this. So in the chat, hit the like button. Get ready. I'm going to send out the link here shortly because we're gonna bring you guys on. Have what you're going to say ready because you're going to come in, say what you're saying, and you're out. But we do have a couple super chats, so let's hit up the super chats. Thoughts on pickleball? Looks like weird tennis.
It does look like weird tennis, doesn't it? I don't really know what to do with it, Angie. I don't know the rules to pickleball. You can hit the ball on the side of the net. You don't have to hit it over the net, and the ball doesn't really travel that far. I really don't know what to do with pickleball. I don't. I really don't.
What I find interesting is that pickleball was a game created for old people. Like, I mean, old placement,
like my mother.
Okay,
don't get me wrong. My mother isn't. I mean, she doesn't have a hip replacement, but my mother is.
My mother's
in her 70s.
My parents are in their mid 80s, and let me tell you, they would love pickleball because move that much, and how it exploded just blows my mind. So much so that I'll drop the link for you guys, but there's a site that I know that most of you don't know about, that you can get, that every pro sports organization in North America posts jobs, all kinds of jobs on this site. If you want to see it, hit it up in the chat, and I'll drop the link. But they had so is that not you then that just said that?
That is me. That's me right there. That's me right there. Yeah, that's me right there. And if you see it again, Tone, if you see it again, I will tell you if that's me or if that's not me.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me though.
So on this site that I know, they were looking for a CEO of the pickleball league.
Right.
I applied.
You did not, Tone.
I totally did.
Did you apply, Tone?
We applied, and they got back to me right away. And I can't. You got to move. You got to move to a certain part of the U.S. that I don't want to move to. So I'm like, no. But they're like, well, you could still be on the board of directors. We're having a conversation. But I'm the fact that they are looking for a CEO. It pays really well, and this is a thing. Pickleball is a thing. So it is weird tennis, and hey, this is why the world is a weird place.
They have it. They have it on ESPN,
and it blew up.
It's on. It's on. I've flipped channels and I've seen pickleball on ESPN. So this is a thing.
It's a real
thing.
And for those of you that want a job in sports, I believe it's called. Let me get you the right one. I think it's called like Team Sport or something like that. I'll find it when you guys are up talking. I'll look it up because I don't. You know me and my memory. So that's how I feel about pickleball. I think it is weird tennis, but it's a thing. So shout Shout out to pickleball. Maybe I could play out.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll be the pickleball champion of the world. Fluent and Chill. What went wrong with Melo and AI Nuggets?
AI isn't the leader that Chauncey Billups was, which would explain why they went to the conference finals when they had Chauncey Billups, because that's what Carmelo Anthony at that time needed. If you notice, when he had J.R. Smith with Chauncey Billups, when you had Carmelo Anthony with Chauncey Billups, there was a lot more order, as opposed to with Allen Iverson. They were just a team that was just balling. They were a team that was just playing. Allen didn't really know how to be that kind of pro that they needed. He wasn't that steady piece that they needed. And people think that when you just throw bucket getters together, that it's going to work. And that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case with the Denver Nuggets. Chauncey Billups fit better with that crew more than Allen Iverson did.
Here it is, just for everybody that is asking. So Teamwork Online, they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
They got jobs all over the sports world, from sweeping up the floors to vacuuming the AstroTurf, to CEO of Pickleball, to director of operations of the Phoenix Suns. Like there's when I interviewed with the Tampa Bay Bucks, it was through Teamwork Online. They are it's legit. So anyways, no more playing with them. What I think went wrong is you had two guys who are great at the same thing, and neither one of them plays defense. And that goes to the leadership part too. I don't disagree with that. Why did AI? Okay, why did Melo make it to the conference champions? Why did Melo make it to the conference champions? You said, well, they had a leader like Billups that kind of kept them all kind of in line doing their thing. How did AI get to the NBA Finals? Well, they surrounded hey, I'm going to shoot at all costs and score, do whatever it takes to score a bunch of buckets, and they surrounded him with guys like Eric Snow, Mutombo, solid vets, leaders, defensive players, shot blockers. Aaron McKee. Yeah, a bunch of guys that were like, hey, you do. And this is why I always laugh at people because when we talk about when people look at stats, there's reasons sometimes that people have certain stats. Not always, but sometimes there's a reason why, AI shoots 40% from the field. It's because they said, oh, shoot 30 times. We got the rebounds. We got the defense. That was their plan. Now you might disagree with the plan, but that was the strategy.
Right.
So I think that was the issue with Melo and AI, is that who is the person that's going to say, hey, let's be smart about this, right? And who's the one that's going to step up and play defense? And unfortunately, it was neither of them. So and it's too bad because on the outside looking in, that looked like, hey, that's a good thing. Preseason,
it did look like that look like that from the beginning.
Right? Like we thought, Denver, AI and Melo, that's gonna be nuts.
Yes,
it was not
so much.
Preseason NBA awards.
Let's see, preseason NBA awards. So
let's go MVP, Depoy. Let's just do MVP and Depoy.
All right. So the league MVP this season. I think Jason Tatum wins it. I think Boston's going to be at the top of the Eastern Conference. I think Jason Tatum wins the league MVP this year. I think the Defensive Player of the Year goes to Evan Mobley. I think the Defensive Player of the Year goes to Evan Mobley. I think most improved. I think that goes to Anthony Edwards. I think he has a breakout season this year. I think he's an All-NBA performer. And when I say an All-NBA performer, I think that he's a second team, knocking on the door, first team All-NBA performer this season. I think he wins most improved. Best rotation guy. That's what I got to get my finger on, because I love Josh Hart with the Knicks. And I love what he's doing with the Knicks. I think he's the best rebounding guard in the league. He's one of the best dirty work guys in the game. I think Josh Hart has a legit. I think he has a legit shot at. I think he has a legit shot at being the sixth man of the year.
I'm gonna go with MVP, LeBron James, Depoy, Anthony Davis, most improved, Austin Reeves, and sixth man Jared Vanderbilt. Oh no, wait, that's just my Lakers. Oh, sorry.
Bad
We
timing.
knew that that's what it was.
I saw your face when I said
You're
LeBron. You're like,
Vanderbilt.
what? Well, six man.
Right.
All Lakers. We're gonna sweep the awards. No, okay.
Mhm.
All joking aside,
Mhm.
that was a joke because I know I'm gonna get
We're clipping that.
MVP.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Flip it.
I'm gonna get killed.
Flip that.
Okay, so MVP. I feel like it's going back to Mile High.
To Joker again?
I feel like it's going back to Mile High.
So
Not
3
crazy.
times in 4 years, which should have been 4 in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really do. I think
Mm.
Jokic for MVP, and I wanted to pick someone different because I had Mobley and Ant too for the other two, so we'll just skip those. And then sixth man, I think you're going to see the return of the guy who we both thought was going to win it last year. I think Bobby Portis this year, and he'll probably be the only guy six man averaging a double. So I think he'll get it a year late. Again,
I could get with that.
He got hurt, right? So that's who I got.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna change and the reason why I'm changing it is because I'm thinking about what's going on with the Knicks. As much as I love Josh Hart, they got DiVincenzo, right? They got Quigley, who was also up for sixth man of the year. Now Josh Hart. I'm not sure with that rotation. I mean, he's going to be effective, but I don't think he's going to be as nearly as effective as Bobby Portis. I think Bobby Portis, yes, Tone. I think he wins sixth man of the year this season. I'm feeling
Jay. Bama. Hey, I just had to reset.
Were you in Seattle using that McDonald's Wi-Fi? Does that know something we don't know?
We had that microwave Wi-Fi. It was bad. It was
it was terrible.
It was bad. I didn't know it, and they were telling us, but hey, they enjoyed whatever. Jay, who did you have for MVP? I missed that.
Jason Tatum.
Your favorite player?
Hey,
Jason
I'm coming around. That's not crazy, but you know what? You know what's crazy, Fluent, is I really like your Jokic pick, and I think people don't want to see the Nuggets again. They don't want to see Jokic. They just don't want to talk about the Nuggets. But I think we're there. I think we're in this era, and I really like that pick. I think that's valid, and I think it might happen. We got to look out.
Well, if you agree with me, you know that you are, you know that you are.
Now you're more fluent.
Got to get to the button. There's a lot of them now. We're gonna do. So what we're doing was a couple of super chats, and then we're gonna jump into the OKC why they failed. Does that work for you? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I just took control, just so you don't have to worry about it for right now while your internet is where are you at McDonald's.
Okay.
But you can feel free. You can read.
No, I got you. Edward, Aaliyah, Tatum and Brown are better duo than Jrue and Giannis. Bucks duo haven't done anything since winning the chip, second round exit and first round exit last 2 years. What do you guys think?
I think that's false because I think you thinking solely on the fact that what they did in the playoffs, and I'm thinking about the fact that Jrue Holiday made the All-Star team last year. He was first team all defense. Giannis actually should have been an all-league defender. He finished top 3 in league MVP votes. They had the best record in the NBA. This isn't solely based on winning the NBA championship, but since you want to bring it up, they did win the NBA championship in 21, 2 years ago. The Boston Celtics have not done that. And I'm a big Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown guy. The Boston Celtics have not done that. So that's not true, sir.
I would say here's the conversation that we always end up having. Tatum and Brown are more talented than Jrue and Giannis, but talent doesn't make you a better player.
No, it does not.
And I know that people find that really difficult to understand because they look at a guy like Kyrie's the best example of it. He's so talented. He's so skilled. Look at the way the ball's like on a string, but that doesn't make him a better player than other people just because he has more talent or skill. And I'll give you another example. And this is what I use a lot. When we talk about talent, skill, like things they could do, Vince Carter is just as talented and skilled as like Kobe
or Jordan.
He has all the same attributes. But would you ever have Vince? And I love Vince Carter. Would you ever have him in a conversation with Kobe and Jordan? No, because they were better players because of other things. There's intangible things. So when I look at Tatum and Brown, I'm like, yeah, they're more skilled. They're more talented than Jrue and Giannis. If I'm building a team, I know there's two guys that can take me and win a championship. I know it. They've done it. Their defense, they're, they enough offense in different ways. Like Giannis scores 30 a game. It ain't pretty. He scores 30 a game. And want him to shoot mid-range. They want him to shoot 3-pointers. Hey, Fluent, y'all missed one of my super chats. Oh, I didn't see it. I'm sorry, Angie.
We'll get to it. We got you.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So that's what I'm saying is that for now, Tatum and Brown still have time. They're still mid-20s. They got a shot. They got a shot. How do you feel about it, Hailey? Hailey froze. All right.
I agree. I mean, if we're gonna compare, I'm still here. I thought I did.
Can we get rid of? And by the way,
Tatum
remember
Giannis,
that fake?
right? Who's?
Yep. Go ahead, H. I'm sorry. Because this the same.
I'm so sorry if I'm lagging.
You are
this the same dude who came into my live channel, Andrew G, and Tone. You know what he looked like? He looked like the person where you get on the stage and you give him the microphone and it was completely tripped over himself and got trampled.
Pause for identification. Then can we pause for that on that? Because remember a couple weeks ago I told you about this guy throat soaker who said I'll come on your weak ass show and I'll bust your this that boo and he said, and I said, all right, come, let's challenge me anytime. He said, anytime, any place. I said, cool. Thursday, 9 p.m. Fluent and Chill. Here's the link. Here's the link. And of course, he didn't show up. And so then I called him out on TikTok and I said, hey, I thought you were going to come and you were the man and you were going to teach me a lesson. Oh, look at that. See what he did now? He took it down. He had a response. He had a response. He had a response because I called him out and I said, hey, throat soaker, what happened, bro? Like you said you were gonna come on the show and you were gonna kick my ass and you were gonna beat me in it. I said, where you at? And he replied, made a video, posted it on his channel, and was like, I would, but I don't want to come on your channel and then it blows up because of me. And then you're asking me, please come back and, come back again because I need you. I don't want to be that guy. So that's why I'm not going to come on. And so he must have been getting a lot of heat for posting that video because he has since taking it down off his TikTok.
I just don't have a lot of time for the goofy Tone. I mean, like we have conversations and a lot of these people, they think that they could do what you do until they actually get in front of you. And then when they get in front of you, it's something completely different. This dude says to me like, yo, I wasn't really feeling that good. Tone, if I get in front of you and you end up busting my ass and I go, well, Tone, I had a sprained ankle when I played against you. Well, I shouldn't have got out there then, if that's the case.
Listen, I tell everybody, I played a dude, 2K, back in the day. We used to go to the barbershop and play 2K. I think it was still 2K back in those days. And they gave me a controller and there's I don't know if you've ever played 2K, but there's a button, like a turbo button where you can run, to sprint, to run a little bit faster. And I was given, as the newcomer, you get the controller without the turbo. And I was like, that's cool. No problem. And I lost by 1 point. I lost by 1 point because when I hit my turbo button to hit the layup at the end, I had no turbo and he blocked the shot and I lost by a point. I lost. And everyone's like, and everybody else was making excuses going, yo, guy, how'd you only beat him by 1, bro? He didn't even have turbo. And they were clowning him. And I was like, yep. But for me, I decided to play with that. I could have said, no, I'm not playing with that controller. I played with it. I lost. It's all done. Does my son beat me in 2K now? Sometimes. I'm getting better, though. It depends on the matchup. It depends on the matchup. I'm getting pretty good at it. Like, I haven't played video games in a long time, so I do appreciate my son being like, come on, Dad, play. So I'm learning kind of the new... I'm getting pretty good. All right.
Okay.
All right. So Angie, by the way, just send what you're going to say in here. Sometimes send the super chat that we missed, Angie, because I don't see it in here because we got more. Then we're gonna get to OKC and why they stink. Fluent as a Laker fan and Chilltown being a Bron super fan, how y'all feel about Jeanie Buss confirming LeBron getting his jersey retired as a Laker?
Well, he should.
That's a
Well,
great.
I don't see why not. And the reason why I don't see why not, Chamberlain got his jersey retired. Chamberlain played 6 years with the Lakers. I'm sorry, 5 years with the Lakers. Won one NBA championship. His jersey hanging up in the rafters with the LA Lakers. So I don't see why not.
I disagree. And I disagree because I disagree that Chamberlain should even have his jersey retired. And what makes me even more disagree with her even more, she said, well, he played for the Lakers and he's making the Hall of Fame, so he gets his jersey retired. That's the prerequisite. That's it. You make the Hall of Fame and you played for us, so you get your jersey retired.
But it's not like he played 1 or 2 years there, Tone. I think we're going into year 6.
Yeah.
Let's see. 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23. We're going into year 6 now.
Take out the names. Take out the names for a second.
Right?
If I told you missed the playoffs, won an NBA championship, first round exit, missed the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals got swept.
Western Conference Finals got swept.
Got swept. Is that a successful 5-year stretch?
As an organization or as a player, Tone? Because because this is what you're asking for. You're asking solely for postseason success. You're completely leaving out stuff like won the NBA championship.
I said won the NBA championship.
Okay, right? And was an all-pro first team.
I'm not talking about LeBron. I'm saying as a team, as a team that values themselves as the best franchise in the NBA, the most NBA championships. Is that 5-year stretch of missing the playoffs twice, getting knocked out in the first round, getting swept out of the Western Conference Finals, and winning one chip? Is that a successful? Or is that good? Is that bad? Is it average? Like, where does that lie for the greatest?
Well, if you're talking about a franchise that if they pride themselves on winning and that hasn't happened, then no, that's not successful. No, so it hasn't happened as frequently as you would like. Then no, that hasn't happened.
So my issue is, I could see them, which this sounds crazy. I could see them putting up a statue of LeBron.
Before we ain't going that far.
Hold on, before retiring the jersey, because I've seen the Philadelphia Eagles put a statue up of Nick Foles and Coach Peterson because they won a Super Bowl.
Here's the difference, though, Tone. The difference with that is, when was the last time the Philadelphia Eagles won the bowl game before then?
I understand.
Try never. How about that? Try never.
No.
There's a long line.
First one ever. Didn't Jaws win one? Jaws didn't win.
Who?
Jaws.
No.
He didn't win in the 70s.
They lost to the Raiders.
Did they? Okay, I don't mind.
They lost to the Raiders. Right. And with that being said, there's a long line of Laker greats. And these Laker greats have championships behind them.
And that's where I was going to go. So back to the retiring of the jersey. So Chamberlain came and played, 4 years?
69, 70, 70, 71, 71, 72, 72, 73. 4 seasons. That's it.
And that's not a Laker great. I get it. He's a great player who played for the Lakers. But like, it's, again, Kawhi, if the prerequisite is anyone that goes to the Hall of Fame, any team that he played for gets their number retired, just seems...
I'm still listening to you, Tone. Keep talking. I'm still listening to you, Tone. Keep talking.
That just seems like a really low bar for me. And so when you're asking how I feel about it, I think, like Jeanie Buss had LeBron ahead of, and Phil Jackson in her top 5 most influential Lakers before she had Jerry West. Wow. Before she had Jerry West. Jerry West should have been the first on that list. Jerry West not only went to the NBA championship multiple times with the Lakers, won an MVP with the Lakers, won a championship with the Lakers. He was also the executive that brought in Shaq, that brought in Kobe, that got them that brought in Phil, that got them 5 more rings. There's no one more influential on the Lakers than Jerry West. And so that's what it's just like. I get it. He's your guy now. He's the star. I get she loves him. I get it. And what's not to love? He's a lovable guy.
Right.
But man, how many Hall of Famers have their numbers retired from every single franchise they played for? And it's not a lot. It's not. That's just my issue with it. I feel like we're retiring everybody's number. But Christopher D, to answer your question, way long-winded. yes, LeBron's going to get his number retired by the Lakers. And because Chamberlain did, there's a precedent for it. So because Chamberlain did, you have to do LeBron. But I think neither one. And listen, I don't even think Pau Gasol should have his number retired. So my bar is very, very high for retiring a number. So,
and not just with the Lakers, period.
Yeah, everybody.
Not just with the Lakers, period. You have a very strict criteria when it comes to having your jersey hung up. And I do understand, and I do understand that. And if we're talking about the Lakers,
I'm hating LeBron. I'm not hating on LeBron.
No.
I don't think Chamberlain. I don't think Pau. That's everybody.
Yeah,
I cut you off. My bad.
Because again, when we're talking about retiring your jersey, we're talking about an all-time great. But I will ask you this, Tone. Even though I think James is done winning NBA championships, I think them days are over. If they were to win the NBA championship again, would that make you feel better about retiring his jersey?
If LeBron James takes, not carries, because at that age he's not going to carry, but if he takes the Lakers and wins a Finals MVP, especially because I think for them to win, he would have to in the finals win the Finals MVP. Him or AD could get it, right. But if he wins Finals MVP and they win a chip, not only does he get the number retired, then you already know. I've already told you he becomes number one all time for me. If that happens, absolutely no issue. No. If you win 2 chips in 6 years on the craziness that has been a rotating roster, rotating coaches, a second best player who's made out of glass, dude, you get all the respect and love you deserve. It's just in this so far time frame, I'm just it's not enough for me as a Laker. That's all. Dude should have a monument built outside in Cleveland, and he's probably gonna get screwed because the owner don't like him. But he should have they should name that arena the LeBron James Cleveland Arena.
Well, they have to. There's no question about that, Tone. They of all the places, I mean, his jersey getting retired, I think that's minimal. And we talking about there's definitely going to be a stat. He's the greatest player that they've ever had. It's not close. The only championship that was won in that city in 53 years was delivered by him. So, and Kyrie Irving. So,
I still feel to this day. Listen, they've retired the number 6 for Russell across the NBA. He's going back to number 23. I don't like it because he said no one should ever wear the number 23 again, and I get it. He's worn the number 23 again.
Yeah,
he said that. But I think when he retires. Listen, him, and I don't know that it'll happen, but yeah, I'll try to speak it into existence.
I'm cool with hanging up the number 23, Tom. I'm cool with that.
I think they should do a LeBron, Jordan, bring them together because they're gonna be old men by that point. Because LeBron's gonna retire, he's gonna be 50, which means Jordan's gonna be Jordan's gonna be 70. So right, just bring them together with their with their walkers, and just number 23 is gone from the NBA. And I'm
cool with hanging up. I'm cool with hanging up number 23. I'm cool with that. Nobody else can wear this.
Still worried about either one of them. I'm
cool with that.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
We got another super chat. We do have another super chat. Giannis Antetokounmpo outworks both Tatum and Brown. Yeah, this I don't think that's.
I don't think that just him by himself. I mean, and I will concede that they ended up beating Milwaukee when Milwaukee had them down 3-2. They ended up coming back and beating Milwaukee, and that was on a 46-point effort from Jason Tatum that nobody really talks about. Even though Giannis went 40 and 20 that game, they still gave it up. But with that being said, Giannis's work ethic is. When I think about the best players in the game, and I think about what they do to get there, Giannis is at the top of the league when it comes to work ethic. There's a reason why he's in the MVP conversation every year. Because that work ethic is at the top of the league. 100%. I believe that.
I agree. I sent the link in there, guys. It's going to be 5 minutes. We're going to do the OKC talk first. But first, we have one from our guy, Sports PSP. Thoughts on college football this season?
I don't have any respect for college football. None whatsoever. And the reason why I don't have any respect for college football is because the rules don't apply to everybody. The best teams are the teams that everybody thinks are. So if they ain't playing, I live in the South, and Tone, they don't think they play football anywhere else but in the SEC. They ain't playing football in the Big Ten. They ain't playing football in the Pac-10. They ain't playing football in the Big 12. They ain't playing football in the Big East. They ain't playing football nowhere else. And the logic on these teams being the best teams in the country is your quote unquote strength of schedule. Well, where I'm from, what that suggests to me is that you think you can whoop me because you from a tougher neighborhood than me. Well, if that's true, come do it. That's how we get to the bottom of that. Come do it. Don't just say, yo, I live in a tougher neighborhood, so I should automatically have an opportunity to play for the national championship, even though you don't live in that tougher neighborhood. Or the other logic of not only the strength of this team's strength of schedule, like for example, the University of Cincinnati or TCU. Well, night in and night out, or every week, I can't see TCU having to deal with what's going on in the ACC. Well, first and foremost, I'm the Billy Badass of my block. I don't have to whoop everybody in your neighborhood. That's your job. I served everybody in my neighborhood. That's all I have to do. You the Billy Badass of your block. I just got to whoop you. You got to handle all of those other guys in your neighborhood. That ain't my job. Because I already handled everybody else in my neighborhood. Why I got to come beat up everybody else in your neighborhood? That goes back to the logic that you from a tougher neighborhood, so you think you can whoop me. Well, if that's true, come do it.
Well, you asked the question. What do you think about? I am not. Listen, I'll be the first one to admit. I am not a big college. I'm a college football fan. I just don't watch a lot of college football. I go to like Bama, I go to like J-Rob, and I ask them because they're the college football. Now Bama's a little biased towards Alabama for obvious reasons. His name is freaking Bama. But I go to them and I'm like, who you like? Tell me what's going on in college football. So you asked the question. Is it because do you have an opinion?
No, I just the only reason why I asked the question is because I know everyone talks about the NFL season. Of course, everyone should be anticipated with the NFL season, but college football season, with all the teams, you got Oklahoma and Texas heading to the SEC, I think next year, Florida State, about what they're going to do. I mean, it's like crazy with all these teams going back and forth, but obviously it's a money thing. So they're going to capitalize whatever the money's out there, folks. But Chilltown, I wanted to talk to you about this. A lot of people have been giving me a lot of grief about Ben Simmons. I've said Ben Simmons, if he replicates another year like he had last season, and I mentioned this to you when I was on your pod, this may be it. You said it yourself. I'm done with Ben Simmons. What does Ben Simmons have to do in order to resurrect his career? Because everyone's saying he's healthy, but I'm like, I got to see it to believe it.
Well, the first thing he's got to do is show that he wants to play basketball. That's number one, because I'm not sure that he wants to play basketball. And I've seen the film in the summertime of him working on his jump shot. And this ain't the first time this has happened. This has happened in the past where I've seen him shooting the long ball, or I've seen him passing the basketball in pickup games in the summertime. However, I've seen him on the sideline happier in street clothes than actually on the floor. So the first thing that I'm thinking about is, do you even want to play basketball? Do you love what the game brings more than the actual game? Is this just a job for you? And if it is just a job for you, treat it like that. If you're gonna treat it like it's just a job, then you got to come to work. Because I can honestly say, for basketball, for Joker, this is just a job. He cares about other things.
I'm okay with that, and I know you're saying that too. I'm okay with that, but treat it like a job. Show up every day, work hard, right? Hey, I'm okay with you punching in, punching out, and then when you're out, I'm okay with that. But Ben Simmons isn't doing that. Ben Simmons is to work. He's punching in and he's going to the lounge and he's getting like a foot massage, and then he's going straight to the mini putt. He's working at a nice company. He's going out to the mini putt thing out on the patio, and then he's going to the quiet room to have a nap, and then he's going to the triggered room to have some therapy. But he ain't actually doing any work. And so I'm already out on Ben Simmons because I don't think he wants to play. I don't think that on the offensive side he's good enough to play. And so I'm out. I have no interest. There's other guys. Like, how much is he making?
He's making about $35 million per year.
You can have three serviceable. Yep. You can have three really good serviceable role players easily for $10 million each versus Ben Simmons, who I don't know if he wants to play. That should never be a question.
It shouldn't be. So sports. Right. I actually tried to sell Tone last year. I tried to sell Tone that, yo, you got your franchise player, because this is what he wanted, right? He wanted to be a franchise. He wanted to be a franchise guard, and he was that. Only to find out that I'm not sure that he wants to play basketball. I'm not.
I feel the same way. I just don't think he loves it. I mean, of course, mental. Ever since the Atlanta series, he hasn't been the same. But I just think, man, this is about it for him. One last question before I gotta go. Start, bench, or cut? Braun, Kobe, and Larry Bird.
That's easy. Start Kobe. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Start James.
right. Start Kobe. You got
Start James. Bench Bird. Cut Bryant.
Fluent.
Start Kobe. Bench Braun. No. Bench Larry. Cut Braun.
There you
I
go.
agree with Chills. The only reason why I take Bird over Kobe, I think offensively, Bird was a better player, better shooter, passer, playmaker. Kobe has the defensive edge over Bird, although Bird was no slouch on defense. But Bird as the number one option, Bird as the man, that's where I give the edge. Even though Kobe later in his career, he did win two without Shaq and with Bynum and Gasol. But I just give Bird because of the longevity as well.
I go offensive and defensively. Kobe better than Bird, and I can't have someone with a losing record in the finals start over two guys that don't.
All right, but anyway, folks, y'all take it easy, man.
All right, Sports. Good to see you, brother.
The Celtics,
too, man.
Celtics, damn it. I'll see you later, brother. Oh man, I can't believe it. I got to take that back. Actually, I'm cutting Bird. I can't have a Celtic on my team. Get out of here.
I knew that was coming. I was actually surprised that you even had him.
Doing that I was just cutting Braun to mess with people.
Yeah, I knew that was happening.
Celtic, get out of here. Automatic cut.
All right, that was happening.
OKC had a team for the ages.
Yes, they did.
They had let me just run this down. Oh, hold on. Oh, see? Hold on a minute. I don't know if you can see this right here. See what that is?
That's a cord.
That's my MacBook saying it needs some juice.
We got to we got to light that up.
To plug in because I know I don't want to be like Hailey, get booted out. All right. So OKC, I'm just going to run down. I'm going to run down this roster. This is the roster that went to the NBA Finals and lost. Because right after this is really where it kind of started to fall apart, I guess. Because after this, James Harden leaves. Right. A couple years later, KD leaves. But just let me give you this roster. So the shortened season, then they go to the finals. Kevin Durant, 23.
Kid.
Russell Westbrook, 23. James Harden, 22.
Kids.
Serge Ibaka, reportedly 22. There's been some reports that he might have been older, but 22. Kendrick Perkins, 27. Cephalosha, 27. Nick Collison, 31. Derek Fisher, 37. Cook, 24. Maynard, 24. Reggie Jackson, 21.
Darren Watkins. That actually is me. That's not a fake chill. That is me. Keep going, Tom.
Muhammad, 34. Royal Ivy, 30. Cole Aldridge, 23. Hayward, 25. Ryan Reed, 25. So that team makes it to the NBA final against whatever you want to call the Miami Heat with LeBron, Wade, and Bosch and others. Why didn't it work?
Well,
why couldn't it work? Would it have ever worked?
Well, number one, it was working because they got to the NBA Finals. So it was clearly working. That's number one. Number two, Tone, what team? I hate asking rhetorical questions. So I'll be honest. There has not been a team that has won the NBA championship with kids at the helm. KD was 23. Russ was 22. James Harden was 21. Ibaka was 23. There has not been an NBA team in my lifetime or that I can remember that had kids at the helm. Well, Magic Johnson was 20. Yeah, he had a loaded unit of vets. That team was loaded with vets, with Jabbar and Jamal Wilkes.
With the top 2-3 players under 24, no team has ever won.
That's not happening, right? So with that being said, and Sebastian, don't say the 2015 Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry was in the league 6 years when they won it. He was in year 6.
How old was he? Maybe
he was 20. I think he was 25 at that point.
So we said 24 under. So
yeah, I think he was 25. Draymond, I think, was 26. So you're not winning it with kids. With that being said, it was working. They were on their way to doing it, right? They were on their way to doing it. And with the process of them being on their way to doing it, the crew got broken up. You see how bad James Harden was in those NBA finals. And everybody wanted to say that this was just an aberration. This isn't who he really is. He's just young. Only to find out that this is who he really is. Don't let this fool you. This is actually who this guy is. He gets moved from Oklahoma City to Houston, which, by the way, the Oklahoma City Thunder saved $30 million at that time. Now, that sounds crazy to people today, but in a market like Oklahoma City, which was the 41st market in the NBA, saving $41 million is a lot of money. And to save that and to move on from James Harden with Kevin Martin, who wasn't bad, Tone. Kevin Martin was not bad. He wasn't James Harden. He wasn't James Harden. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't James Harden. He just didn't fit with what they were doing. Then Russell Westbrook got hurt the year that KD won the league MVP. He got hurt by Pat Beverly. Then KD got hurt. So they had a multitude of things go on their march. When KD leaves Oklahoma City in 16, that year, I think that they weren't that. I think they were right there. They weren't that far away.
We're up 3-1 on the eventual.
I'm willing to run it back, man. Let's get another shot at these guys. Let's get another shot at these guys and see if we can get them again. Let's see if we could do it. So to answer the question, why didn't it work? I think KD ran out of patience and injuries and moving on from James Harden.
Well, it's interesting because with a couple of exceptions, if you run through the top 10 players in the NBA, no order. Okay, we're not debating the order right now, but just the consensus, right, is again no order, right? But Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, Bird, Wilt, Shaq, Team, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Kobe. Who else in there? Russell. Who else? Anybody else?
I was 10.
I was 10. Okay.
You left Olajuwon out.
Okay. No, I said Hakeem.
You left the D's. Did you say Shaq?
The Shaq as well. Yeah.
You left Chamberlain out. So
no, I said Wilt too.
Then that's 10.
That's it. Yeah. Again, this isn't about. There is some form, right? These guys are in everyone's kind of 10, 11, 12. Okay.
Right.
So let me. So KD leaves after year 7,
9.
Year 9. Wow. I thought it was years. Okay. So Jordan to win a chip took 7 years.
Yep.
LeBron 9. Kareem wins one his second year, and then doesn't win one again for 10.
I thought it was 9 seasons. Okay, 10 years.
Maybe it's 9. Okay, so he gets that one early. Magic. Okay, Magic might be the exception who wins it.
He is. Him and Bird are the exception to the rule.
Yeah, Bird wins it. I think year 2, right? Wilt. This one I don't know. I'm asking you. So
8 years. 8 years. Took Wilt 8 seasons to do it.
Shaq came in what, 92, 93?
Took him 8 years to do it.
8 years. Took him. I know he went to the finals like in year 2, but then he actually doesn't win one till what, year 10?
Who are we talking about?
Olajuwon.
Took him 10 years to do it.
10 years. Kobe comes in 96, 97, so kind of like 4, but he's also number 2 to Shaq or 1B to Shaq. So, but still, and then Russell's the exception because Russell just won. So the reason I bring that up is on average of the top 10 greatest players of all time, you're waiting 6, 7 years it's taking you with everything going right on average to win a chip. How was he? No, he could not have been. Okay, that was okay. My bad. All right. So I think what was wrong with this team was patience.
Right.
And I know you said they saved 31, 41, whatever it was, million. But I'm thinking you got to you went to the NBA final. You have to keep that team together. And I'm telling you right now, that's what scares me about Boston. Boston, not that Marcus Smart is James Harden, but Boston kind of that third guy, right? They let him go, and I think it's going to hurt them. But Kevin Durant is 23. Here's my issue with the team, why I think it didn't work. Long way to answer the question.
Yep.
Kevin Durant is 23. He's not a leader. I don't think he's ever a leader of a team. Russell Westbrook, 23. He's not the leader of your team. He can't be the best. He can't be the leader of your team. Sorry.
Rewind, Tone. When you say KD is not the leader, would you say he's not a leader like Allen Iverson wasn't a leader, or is KD not a leader?
I don't think Kevin Durant can be the leader of it. He can be your best player. I don't think he can be the leader of a championship team.
Okay.
I don't think he has that personality, right? Like he was arguably the best player on the Warriors, but that was still Steph's team.
Right.
I don't think Russell Westbrook could be the leader of a championship team. I don't think James Harden. We've seen what James Harden did in the playoffs. I think that we got tricked by Oklahoma City because those three specifically, and others, and Serge Ibaka, he did his role. The other guys too, don't get me wrong. But those three specifically, as a big three,
right?
Even if they stayed together, I don't think, unless someone comes in as the leader of that team, I don't think they ever win one. Because talent-wise, they were good enough. Skill-wise, they were good enough. I don't think that, because I think you would have still seen the same issues that you have from James Harden once, because they would have had to pay him and then start him. So you would have saw the same thing in the playoffs that you saw with him in Houston and everywhere else. I think Russell Westbrook would have been the same thing. I'm not calling him a stat patter, but he would have put up great numbers, but it wouldn't necessarily have equated to winning. And I don't think Kevin Durant can lead a team. I don't think, and again, it's not personal. I think it's personality. I think it's just not his personality. I think that's why when he went to Golden State and he didn't have to be the leader and the best player, that's why I keep saying we all knock him for going there. He never should have left.
That's what I think. I think he never should have left. But with that being said, Tone, we have to. I have to believe that with that crew and how they were together, I can appreciate KD looking at Golden State going, yo, I like the way they play basketball. Well, if you like the way that they play basketball and you think that that's winning basketball, instead of getting on that crew, yo, we need to be better at these things. Instead of going, yo, I want to get on that crew and I want to play basketball like that. Well, wait a minute. If that's winning basketball, I'm the leader on this crew. Maybe we need to play differently. Maybe Russ needs to play differently. Maybe I need to play differently. I need to be more of not facilitator, but I need to score in different ways because I am a bucket getter, right? I'm a bucket getter. James Harden, he's a rotation guy, but he's awesome as a rotation guy. He's not the guy that you're going to go to in the playoffs. We've already seen that. We saw that when he was in Oklahoma City. That was just that wasn't an aberration. That's really who he is. So if this is the formula for winning, if what the what the Golden State Warriors were doing, if this is the formula for winning and you see that and you go, yo, this is what it's going to take to win, that's the same thing that all the other greats have done. They've seen what it takes. Isaiah Thomas was going to NBA Finals games to watch Magic. That was going on. He didn't jump on the Lakers team. He was going to watch Magic in the NBA Finals. Jordan was seeing what the Boston Celtics were doing. He saw what the Lakers were doing. He recognized that, yo, in order for us to win, I got to start doing this a little bit more. Me scoring the basketball is not going to be enough. Well, KD, if that was the case with what him seeing in Golden State working, I like the way that they play basketball. Instead of jumping on that crew, how about we play more like that? Because I think that from a talent standpoint, we're better than them. So if we can move the basketball a little bit more, if we can get guys more involved in the game, maybe we can beat these guys.
And that goes to my point, because a leader would have done that. I haven't seen him do it. Have you seen Kevin Durant be the leader of a championship team?
I haven't seen him be the best player. There's a difference between being the best player and being a leader.
And that's why
those two things are not the same thing.
I agree. He could be the best player on a championship team. I don't think he can be the leader. That was my point. A couple of Superchats, and then Honcho's been waiting patiently. Actually, you know what? Honcho, just come in now.
Get Honcho in here, whoever Honcho is.
Come in, Honcho. And then we'll get to the Superchats.
Yep.
Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right. What's up? How's it going?
What's up, Fluent, man? Chill Town. Earlier on the panel, what side were you on that Mars and ticket stuff?
What side was I on?
What did I miss?
I mean, Mars and Ticket were going at it plenty of times about a number of different things.
The big man.
That the big man was trash.
Well, we'll say less skill. You know, we'll take a page out of you. We won't bash him like that.
Where are we going here?
Guild?
I want to know, what side were you on?
You heard me when I was there. So what do you mean you want to know?
I didn't.
Actually, I don't remember that.
I don't either.
Oh, you don't remember? Do you, Honcho? What was the debate? I'm assuming
He knows what it is. So get to the point, my man.
I do know.
He knows what it is. So get to the point.
I don't know. I'm coming in blind.
All right.
I try to get on the chat every once in a while when I'm driving. That's about it.
Super chat about Steph Curry being top 10 and 13, 14. And then we listed off the players, and there were some big men that were like not listed just because they weren't better than Steph Curry. So, and that turned into a whole argument between early 2010s and today's league. All right, Chilltown, I don't remember.
Early 2010s and now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Al Jefferson.
Yep.
The argument, what the logic the Ticket gave was that the big man is trash today. But going back, he said that Kevin Love, who else did he say? He said Kevin Love. He brought up Al Jefferson. And this was in 2014. He said Kevin Love. He said Al Jefferson. Because I ran off a bunch of names to Mars. Because Mars said that Steph Curry was a top 10 player during that time, and I ran off a bunch of names. And he gave me he gave me a bunch of names. I gave him a bunch of names, and he told me I think we got up to like 8 or so. But I did agree with him that Steph Curry was a top 10 player in 2014. I don't know if there's a top 20. I don't know if there's a top 10 player. I don't know if there's a player that's not a top 10 player today. I don't know if there's a player that's not a top 10 player today that's on a playoff team. You're on a playoff team, a team that's I think the Warriors were a top 5 seed that year. I think they lost to the Warriors in 14. I think they were a 5 or 6, something like that. And they ended up winning the playoff series. And at the end of the year, Steph Curry was like 25. He was 24 and 8 that year. I don't know many players that are on teams that make it to the second round that go deep into the playoffs that are not top 10 players. That's 24 and 8. So to get back to the big man logic, I said that I asked him if Blake Griffin was up. I asked him if Blake Griffin was ahead of him. He gave me Blake Griffin. He said Anthony Davis. Who else? I mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge. I wasn't sure if LaMarcus Aldridge was better than Steph Curry at that time, but I brought him up because he was an All-Pro. Who else did I bring up?
Not Dwight wasn't. Well,
Dwight was not. Dwight wasn't. But I think that's all that I brought up. But I think Ox brought up Boogie. I did not bring up Boogie.
No, I don't. Boogie was nice at that time, but
anyway, where are we going with this? Because you heard all of it.
So which I didn't hear all that. Right, fill me in. What are the two sides?
I was asking what's Ticket side is at those, and Dub, they were saying those the early 2010s they were pretty good.
Okay.
And Mars is saying no, they were not good. They were trash.
No, that's not what Mars was saying. That's not what he was saying. Mars was saying
oh my lord.
That's not what he was saying. Mars was saying that if you're gonna say that the big man today is trash, because that's what Ticket was saying. If you're gonna say that the big man today is whack, then you can't use that same logic for what was going on back then and say the big man was better than Steph Curry back then. You can't do that. That's what he was saying.
So that's interesting. Okay. Thank you, Honcho. Appreciate you. So let's talk about it. So I just I'm gonna make sure I'm clear. They said that the big man today is trash. That's not true. And that the big men of the 2010s were worse than they are today, and that's not true. They're
because I brought up Kevin. I brought up when we talked about Steph Curry being a top 10 player. I brought up Blake Griffin. He gave me Blake Griffin. I brought up Kevin Love. He said no. I brought up Anthony Davis. He gave me Anthony Davis. I brought up LaMarcus Aldridge. He wasn't really feeling LaMarcus Aldridge. Who else? Who else am I thinking about in terms of big men? Those are the guys that I'm thinking about off the top of my head that I brought up. But with that being said, the argument went when Ticket said, Mars said about Ticket, if you think the big man is whack today, you can't tell me that the big man is whack today. And then a weaker big man era, which was in the 2010s, earlier in the 2010s, you can't use that logic and then tell me in a weaker era of big men that LaMarcus Aldridge and Kevin Love were better than Steph Curry. That was the logic.
Okay. I think I agree with Mars. I don't think the 2010s, when you just said those names, I don't think the 2010s had a lot of good big men. But
I don't think the big man was whack. I just think that the game was whack,
but I
don't think that the big man was whack.
I think in the early 2000s was kind of the big man was starting to taper off, right? In the early now they also changed some rules, right? Bringing in the zone, the hand checking, the 3 seconds, all that kind of stuff. And we started to transition the game. And I think as those guys started to those like the Alonzos and those guys started to like retire and whatever in the early 2000s, that the big man was going through a transition in the 20s.
That's what was going on. Yes,
we don't want them to post up and clog the lane anymore because they can't. We need them to be more skilled and better shooters, but that just doesn't happen overnight. So I think that's what happened. And now today you're seeing a big man that a traditionalist will say the big men today are whack. Right. But the reality is they're not. They're just different. They have a different skill.
All.
It's a different skill. They can handle the rock better. They can shoot better. They can pass better.
That's all it was.
Footwork and post moves. Okay, those are gone. And that's why when we talk about who are the best centers, let's say of today, you get down to like 3-4, and you're talking about a guy who's 6'9", 6'8", and bam.
Right.
Because that's the transition that happened. And that's why I keep saying, I know, look, I'll have arguments with people for the sake of having an argument, but when we're being serious, I'll say no era, in my opinion, was better than another. I enjoy watching today's basketball more than any other era, but but I also appreciate the game was different, right? I can appreciate I always use this example because I love this example. I could appreciate Bob Cousy being Pete Maravich being ball handlers. And no, do they compare to the guys today? No, but they also couldn't dribble on anything but the top of the ball. So it was different. So for their era, they were really, really good. And I can go back and watch tape and appreciate what they were doing for their time. Right? I can now today appreciate when people say, oh, they get 5 steps and they can carry. Well, that's the game. So appreciate the art
today.
Right,
that's what it is today.
To do, I appreciate. I love watching them. So that's why I think when I'm not being troll fluent, when I'm being regular guy, we can have that conversation because that's what's so beautiful about basketball. You can appreciate every single era for what they were doing, and you don't if you're trying to compare a player like Hakeem posting up, and you'll never appreciate a center today. Because no one can do what he did, right? But if you just say, hey, it's different for his time, damn, that was fun to watch. And for this time, this is what the big man is doing. You can appreciate Jokic standing out on top of the 3-point line, dropping passes to everybody because this is beautiful too. So
that's basketball.
I didn't know.
At its finest.
Random guy, you'll be on in a minute. I'm just going to knock off a couple of these super chats. Heart, appreciate it. Is Ben Simmons the first reverse bust in NBA history? Someone who lived up to the hype and then became a bust for non-injury reasons. Maybe Nick Anderson after the missed free throws.
Well, he did get injured. He hurt his back, so that wasn't an issue. The fact that he hurt his back, that was an issue. So I can't discount that. But there is still some time for him. Like he ain't over yet. But just because I'm out on Ben Simmons, that doesn't mean that it still ain't some time for him. I think what is he, 23, 24? He
get drafted? Was he
number 1 overall pick? He was number 1 overall pick. Yes, sir. He was number 1 overall pick.
By the theory of expectations of a number 1 pick, he's a bust. Right? By the expectations of, and I always say that's unfair sometimes, but because he was a number 1 pick, he's a bust. I think Ben Simmons is less to do with his injury and more to do with his head. I think Ben Simmons needs a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or that's what he needs if he's ever going to play again. And I'm going to relate it to a guy who actually got hurt in Derrick Rose. Because I saw Derrick Rose when he first came back from his injury, working out, not playing. He had all the explosiveness, all the jumping, everything I saw when he won the MVP. but he was scared to do it in the game. And as
Right.
as his physical started to deteriorate and he started to learn the more ground game, that's when he came back and became and morphed into this guy that he is now, kind of the veteran guy who plays, ground, on the ground.
Right.
But I think it was mental. I think there would have been another couple of years of almost prime looking Derrick Rose if he would have just come back in. But it's hard when you have an injury. I tell you, I've had that injury, right? I tore my Achilles. I know I was scared to jump for a decade. So I hear it. Got one more. So thanks, Teddy. Actually, Teddy's got back to backs. With the 20 piece. Chill. So maybe KD could have incorporated some of the Warriors principles on his team instead of jumping chip. However, I don't believe OKC, my favorite team since the Sonics, had the right personnel to copy Golden State's play style.
Well, I don't think that they needed to copy their entire play style. I just think that there were some things that they could have taken from what Golden State was doing. So, for example, moving the basketball, playing more off the ball, and making other teams play defense. That was a very, as good as Russell Westbrook was, it was Russ go, then get KD involved, go, as opposed to get KD involved, get Ibaka involved, get James Harden involved, get these other guys involved, and move the basketball, and everybody is involved. Kind of like what Golden State was doing. They have the personnel. You have the personnel to get everybody involved. They just didn't do that. The offense was more centered around what KD does and then what Russell Westbrook does. And if these two guys aren't scoring, as opposed to the basketball moving and getting everybody involved and getting the defense off balance, nothing else is going on. So,
all right. I see what you're saying. Angie Carso, this was the super chat that we missed from Angie. We're going to get to everybody who's waiting patiently. We'll be right there, 2 minutes.
Yep.
Since y'all were on the subject of Seattle sports, I was wondering your thoughts on how Howard Schultz basically gift wrapped the Sonics to Clay Bennett. In my opinion, he a bun for that.
Angie, 100%. That team was stolen out of Seattle.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, bun for that. Okay, go.
100%. That team was stolen out of Seattle. I am not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe, possibly. That team was stolen out of Seattle. They did not have to cave the way that they did, because in 2008, when essentially the economy collapsed and he basically lost all his money, they would have had to sell that team, and he would have had to sell the team, and they would have had to stay in Seattle. But instead, they caved. They straight caved. So
I hate it. I hated that they were gone. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Akoma Mikey's burner. Miss you on the panel, Fluent. Much love, OGs. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I miss you too. Listen, Shaq called me up last night. I don't know, like around 12 o'clock. Talking about that new project that we're going to have coming out. You and me, the new project that we have. He's talking about that. You remember that? You know,
I do remember that.
And he's like, what would it take to get you back on the panel? I said, move the time. I'm sorry. I miss it too. I miss it. It was fun. FIFA boy. Oh, yes. Okay. Fluent. What's the FIFA treatment? So for all of you that don't know, I was headed to a meeting, and I was sitting there waiting because I was early. And so I threw on the panel, see what was going on. So I got in the chat and started causing a ruckus. And FIFA said something. So to answer your question, FIFA, you said something, and I was like, and I said something about, dude, I'll kick your butt or something. I don't know what I said. And then someone else said something slick to me, and that's when I said, yo, stop talking, or I'm gonna give you the FIFA treatment. I don't remember what I said to you. So, it was in the moment I was being a troll, but whatever. That's what I meant by FIFA treatment. Whatever I said to you, I was saying it to that person too. All right. This is the last one, and then we're gonna go random guy, Emmanuel Zeno. So you guys can hear. Define a leader. So many say KD can't lead, but nobody was in his locker room. If it's just about winning, a lot of past greats aren't leaders either.
I don't know how much I agree with that, because at some point you do have to, you have to establish somebody as the guy. Like, this team's identity. The Detroit Pistons are a prime example of that, Tom. When they were winning with Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys, The leader of that crew was Isaiah Thomas. He
Yeah.
was they as rough and tough as they were, he was the leader. He was the one pointing out, yo, get him. He was the guy that was doing that. And at some point, you got to establish who the guy is, who is running things around here.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Can I give you another example? Can I give you another example? When LeBron James went to Miami, that first year, Dwayne Wade remained the leader.
He was the dude.
He was the dude. And it was the next year that LeBron said, hey, this is my team now. And they had more success.
And that was only because Dwayne Wade and him had a conversation.
Yeah, they had a conversation. But I'm saying
they had a conversation.
Right? So that's why it's hard, because leader, right, it's this intangible thing. But you can see it. Like, you knew Jordan was the leader of the Bulls. You know Steph was the leader, right, of the Warriors. You know LeBron was the leader of like every team he's been on. Like, you can see it. You can see it. You just watch and you know even though he wasn't the best player on the team, Kyle Lowry was the leader of that 2019 Raptors that won that chip. Kawhi was the best player. Kyle Lowry
was Steph the leader, or was Draymond the leader on that crew?
I think Draymond was the vocal leader, but I think
the emotional leader.
I still think like when he stepped out of line, I still think Steph, and we know this because him and Steve Kerr have said this, Steph kept him in line. Right, he was the vocal guy. Steph was the guy going, "Hey, yo, we need a push. Hey, yo, pull it back. Hey, yo, we need this."
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say you could see that. So, all right, so let's jump into. We're gonna go over here. There we go. Random guy.
What's up? Sorry, I caught you a little bit late. I was catching you at work, but I needed to get this off. I'm gonna go see my former college roommate in Denver. And I wanted to ask you this, but unfortunately I won't be able to make Chill with Chill on Saturday. He's still celebrating the Denver winning it all. He's still celebrating. Everybody call him.
That ain't going nowhere. That ain't going nowhere.
They
still having a parade in Denver today. They ain't going nowhere.
So we were talking because he's getting ready for the season. He's mad worried about Russell Wilson, but that's a whole nother conversation. He thought one thing that really struck me that he said I want to get your opinion on was he thought the NBA Finals went perfectly for Denver. Obviously, we got to see Jokic do his thing, Jamal Murray do his thing, but also he loved the fact he's a big Michael Porter Jr. guy, but he loved the fact that he struggled in the finals. So Michael Porter had to find a different way to affect the winning. And one thing he told me is that he really expects a big summer in terms of big summer from Michael Porter so he can come back and see. You don't need to just jack it up to win games. Like, I think one thing we saw is that he at least for me, when we watched, I think you talked about it too after the finals, that it felt like Michael Porter, especially was it game 5? I believe it was game 5. He had like a lot of big rebounds. Like, he didn't have a lot, but he always seemed like whenever Miami was trying to get back in the game, like Michael Porter was there to get the ball. Even though obviously he couldn't score. My guy couldn't even make a layup at one point. It felt bad. But so I wanted to see, especially with you saying that Denver was going to last a long time. Like, he was talking like the only way we last a long time, maybe we even win another championship, is the fact that Michael Porter Jr. has to ascend to a point where it all works together. My God, what is up with my camera? I'm out here looking blurry. But I was wanting to see what you thought about that statement, because I'm gonna see him here in a couple weeks, and we're gonna talk all about that.
I think that Michael Porter Jr. I look at that Denver team, and I don't think that I don't see any reason why they won't be around. As long as Joker is healthy, as long as Jamal Murray is healthy, as long as Aaron Gordon, I think he fits perfect for what they're doing. KCP, I don't see, and if Michael Porter Jr. can stay healthy, I don't see why this team's not going to be around. I don't, unless we get a situation where now egos are involved, right? But with that being said, these guys are under contract for the next 2 years. So with these guys being under contract for the next 2 years, the money is not an issue, right? So the money isn't an issue. So now we're in a position where all we have to do is rock. So you got the defending NBA champs who are still relatively young. So with that being said, with that crew, barring significant injuries, I don't see why this team won't be around.
So let me just say, I'm going to jump in quickly. The thing with the egos might actually listen. I don't like that they lost Bruce Brown.
Yeah, that's one thing he was really scared about. Losing
that might be okay because it'll give some of those minutes to some of those other guys, so it might keep them okay. Like, as long as the other Brown, who I think his last name is Braun, but we'll fight about that another time. Right? He's going to have to pick up the slack. You're going to have consistent scoring from MPJ. Health, obviously, that goes without saying for every team. But yeah, I think there's no reason, because those are mine. Like, if all I'm asking is a little bit more consistency from MPJ scoring, and the other Brown now to step up his defense a little bit to pick up the slack from Bruce Brown being gone, that's not asking a lot. That's not asking a lot. They didn't get better, but they didn't get worse either.
One thing I'd say, as big as Ox is about Phoenix, is how bad my boy feels about Phoenix. Like, every time he sees Phoenix make a move, he just starts laughing. He thinks Phoenix is not a threat to them at all, because
listen, you tell your guy the most important thing when you're in Denver is that he takes you to the counter for a burger.
Let me write that down.
And then to Bodega for either a burger or for breakfast.
Okay.
Bodega. Tell him it's on West 38th.
West 38th. Oh, one last thing, Chill. I know from our
all the food spots.
One last thing, because I'm legitimately writing it down right now. But one last thing about our Eli Manning chat a couple weeks ago. I was talking about relative to his era. Like, if you start throwing Joe Namath in there, like, it's not even a contest. Because if Eli Manning had the exact same career in Joe Namath's time, there'd be statues of him everywhere. They'd be praising him.
He'd be the greatest quarterback. He'd be considered the greatest quarterback
of all time.
Ever.
So I was just talking about his era, because I saw a lot of people reacting to that, which is unfair towards Eli Manning and Joe Namath. Because when you look at Joe Namath, his thing, he's also like a little bit like maybe an apt comparison I thought at the time was Allen Iverson, where he's more cultural than he is actually for what he did on the court. Because his win in Super Bowl III is huge. He is a bum. But thank you for having me. He is an absolute bum.
Bum. Have fun in
Garbage.
Emmanuel.
Yo, what's going on, Fluent Chill? Thanks for having me. So I had a question about the Raptors. So, obviously the rumors that Siakam's either going to stay.
Tone, this dude in the chat, Jack Boy, can you get him out of here, please? Please get him out of here. I heard enough out of him. Get him out of here, please.
You read the chat? I don't even read.
I tried not to, but this dude, he's really aggravating. Get him out of here, y'all.
He's going to come up. He's going to send the link.
Is he going to come up?
Yeah.
Is he going to come up? Because if he's not going to come up, he got to go.
If he doesn't come up, we'll put him on timeout.
He got to go. He's got to go.
Question. Go ahead.
It's that simple.
Yeah. So I had a question. So basically, if Siakam decides to leave Toronto, do you think Scotty Barnes or OG is going to step up and take that, role as the best player on the team?
I actually like them two together, B. I really like them two as a defensive tandem. I do like those two together. And I think Barnes? Yeah, I do like those two defensively as a tandem. I think Scotty Barnes can get better offensively. So I think offensively he could ultimately be the better player. But defensively, I don't think that they're that far apart. So building around those two, I'm feeling that. I'm definitely feeling that. 100% I'm feeling that.
How old is OG?
Oh, 27?
26, something like that.
Like that.
Well,
yeah.
I thought he was younger.
No. 26, something like that. But I'll tell you this: I've been seeing Scotty Barnes a lot this summer. He looks good. He looks bigger. He looks stronger. He looks like he's got more bounce in his step. Like, he has a lot. He tends to hurt his ankle a lot. I don't know if you noticed that when he plays, but he looks more solid, and it looks like he's got some more explosiveness to his jump. So
nice. I like that.
I think he's gonna have a good year. Again, health wise, I think you're gonna see him. He's been going through a regimen too for his lower body, because, like I said, you see him roll his ankle a lot, and he hobbles down for 5 minutes, then he comes back and plays. I think you see less of that this year from what he looks like in the offseason. So if they do move from Pascal, I don't think they should, but if they do, I'd like to see them bring in a big. If they can bring in a big. And
but you've been talking about the big man Tone in Toronto for the last 2 years now. Like, what are they doing?
They're missing. They need, and I don't like how I don't like them at point guard either, but who knows? Maybe they're going to have Scotty play the point forward. Cool, man. Appreciate you. Is that LeBron James in a Magic jersey?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Love it.
That's definitely what it looked like to me.
Hey, are you in Toronto? Because you asked a Toronto question, or are you just...
Oh, no, it was just on my mind.
Just on your mind? Okay. No, all right. Cool. I was going to say, if he's in Toronto, I was going to invite him to the Pro-Am tomorrow, but no. All right.
Nice.
Zeno, appreciate your patience, man. What you got going on?
What up?
Yeah, for sure. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
What up? You hot?
All right, cool. All right, first off, just want to say thanks for taking.
Light.
Oh yeah, a little RGB or whatever. Trying to get my setup right. But first off, really wanted to talk to you, Fluent, just real quick as a little quick hitter, because you said Charlotte was going to be the worst team in the East.
He thinks they're going to be garbage, Zeno. He got them trash. He thinks they super whack this year.
Like Washington ain't in the East, Chill. So I just want to know, first off, why you think Charlotte, I guess, is going to be worse than everybody else in the East?
So if you were listening, I said I don't even have a reason. It's just my
no.
Yeah, it's telling me that the LaMelo Miller is just like I said this jokingly, but I said it jokingly, but I don't know if I don't believe it a little bit, even though I was joking. I think Melo's assists are going to go down because he's going to pass to Miller, who's just going to miss shots.
You know, when Nelly said, I got a fold in the basement, I'm just playing, unless you're going to do it. That's tone right there.
Yeah,
right. That's tone. I'm just joking, but I do think that's going to be whack.
But right.
Yeah, that's tone.
That's where he at. It's just gut and nothing else other than they've been a poorly kind of not poorly run, because that's a bad. They've just
you could say poorly run.
They haven't had a well constructed roster, and so
that's poorly run, Tone.
For years, yeah.
It's a poorly run franchise, and I don't think that changed.
For sure, I can relate to that.
Taking Michael Kidd Gildress and telling Bradley Beal we straight, telling Damian Lillard, nah, I think I'm good. Oh my God, taking Cody Zeller and passing on Giannis. Yeah, I think he's good.
As great as Michael Jordan was a player, he is equally inefficient as a player scout.
For sure, most definitely. But that was just my little quick hitter. Second thing, just to kind of defend KD a little bit with y'all up here, just to kind of take us back to like 2015, 2016. So look, as far as like hindsight being 2020, I've kind of fallen off KD a little bit. You know, I used to be a big fan of his or whatever, but just to keep things back in context or whatever. So Chill, you said you felt like KD should have been maybe more willing to like replicate some things with Golden State or whatever the case may be. First off, I do think that comes back to personnel. Also who you have as far as Russell Westbrook and his ball dominance. Because even if you remember that summer, the report was he was pretty much pissed with Russell, but also pissed with who is their coach? Scott Brooks? Yeah, as far as
and Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan came. Billy Donovan came that the year that they lost, they was up 3-1 and they lost. That was the year Billy Donovan was there. But keep going.
Right. So just basically KD being pissed about the fact of Russell being ball dominant, and I guess nobody else really saying anything about it. But I do also think that comes back to Fluent's point about KD not being a leader. I don't think KD's ever been, a leader type player. I think he just wants to hoop, which is, there's no problem.
Yeah, that's just not who he is, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think Fluent as well. Once you got to Golden State, I don't see why you left to try to prove this weird ass point.
At that point, I didn't get. I just didn't understand that. Like, that's why
and I know.
Right.
And I agree with you, Chill, too, on the point that I know you say it's kind of a sucker move for him to go to Golden State after fighting and battling against them, and now you're going to try to join them or whatever. But just to put things back in context, like I said, as far as replicating Golden State and everything, you guys got to keep in mind 2015, 2016, as much as people want to say, oh, Kyrie got hurt, K-Love got hurt, those guys were the champions. And then they came back and dominated the league. They went 73-9. They didn't get the job done, but that was obviously the start of their dynasty. They won 2 with KD, won 1 without him, or whatever the case may be. And I also think, as far as what you said, Chill, about them getting to Game 7 with the Warriors, the eventual, well, not the eventual champs, but those guys, and almost getting to the finals again or whatever. They had gotten to the finals before. They had made Western Conference runs before. So I don't think it's KD not willing to do it, but I think it's after however long, 7-9 years of him seeing that this isn't working. It's not productive. We're having good regular season success, but whether it be the coaching or Russell or whatever the case, the fact that he can't get it done as the number one guy, you feel me, is just what came down to him leaving. But again, I would say he shouldn't have went to Golden State. That was
I do think that we have to add in the fact that KD did get hurt one of those seasons, and then Russell Westbrook got hurt one of those seasons. And again, what I don't want to do is I don't want to make it sound like they replicate everything that they're doing. This isn't football where, this is a copycat league where now this team is running the football. We got to go get a running back. No, that's not the case at all. However, if you see what they're doing and you see that that's working for them, well, wait a minute. We don't have to replicate that, but we have stuff that they have that's working, and maybe that stuff can work for us, right? So maybe we can play a little bit faster. Maybe we can move the basketball a little bit better. Okay, we don't have the guys who shoot the long ball like Curry, like Klay Thompson, right? We don't have those guys, but we do have guys like Russell Westbrook. In the 8 years that he played with KD, he was an 8-assist guy. 8 assists. Now, I can appreciate the logic that, well, he was turning the basketball over at an historic race. Well, that's because he played as fast as he played. If he turned it down and got off the basketball a little bit more and got KD more involved, got Ibaka more involved, got James Harden more involved, and put the defense on their heels more involved, like what Golden State was doing. I'm not talking about playing exactly like Golden State.
But in terms of getting people off, sharing the ball, I shouldn't be saying getting people off and doing that. So Zeno, I appreciate it, because listen, this episode is gonna go long. Thanks for jumping on. I want to try to get to everybody else. So
yeah, for sure. Thanks, y'all.
Pleasure, man. I'm gonna do a super chat and then Sebastian and then a super chat, Mavs guy, a super chat, and RTOFD, your goat. I don't know who that is, but here we go. Surrounding, we got the panel. Oh, I like this. The panel just don't hit the same without OG, dynamic duo. They need your guidance today. Fluent. Ticket was going crazy. Am I like the ticket whisperer? Am I the only one that could keep Ticket like calm?
No, nobody could keep Ticket calm.
I don't know. I feel like me and Ticket, like we simpatico, like we understand each other. I think. Angie Carr, thoughts on a trade where Cat goes to the Spurs with Wemby. Also, Ticket picking Murray, but not Steph, was a nasty. I think he said that to spite Ox.
Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, Cat to the Spurs with Wemby. Well, what would the Spurs be giving up to get Cat? That's the $1 million question.
The Spurs have.
Yeah. What would the Spurs be giving up to get Cat? And I don't think Minnesota is handing over Cat to San Antonio unless they're getting fleeced.
Yeah.
I think I said to you, Tone. I already said to you, Tone. Portland would hand him. I think Minnesota would hand Cat over to Portland for Damian Lillard. I think they'd hand him right over. Now, again, as far as Ticket picking Murray, but not Steph, I'm gonna stay away from that. But what I will say is, peak for peak, the conversation that we had is Derrick Rose and Steph Curry peak for peak, and I said I don't think it's close. Steph Curry had a higher peak than Derrick Rose because, number 1, we didn't see Derrick Rose his peak, but his best season and Steph Curry best season, I don't think it's close. Ticket's argument, which was quite compelling, Tone, because what he did was he made the argument of what led up to Steph Curry's peak. What did he have? Who did he have? And what led up to Derrick Rose's peak, and who was he playing with? Don't get me wrong, it didn't move me. I'm still on the Steph Curry train, but he made a compelling argument.
All right, just a reminder, guys, to keep a lookout for the Fluent and Chill fragrance. It's coming soon. It smells fantastic. Did I ask this already? Did you get it, the first bottle shipped to your house yet?
I have not gotten one yet, but I will be on the lookout for that. Yes, I will.
Put your address in because it's actually it'll be available in the US first, in Canada in a few months. So keep a lookout for the Fluent and Chill fragrance. Yeah, it's real. That's not a joke. All right, so Sebastian has big news. So what's the big news? You said only a minute. Off, know.
I'm gonna get to it actually. It's for the big news. I'm gonna say it after. Do you guys have? Let me just ask. Do you guys have what are your top 3 dark horses for a championship? For winning the championship next year?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yes, you are. Can't hear you. You're breaking up, brother.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Yeah.
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 Well, I was just saying, what are your top 3 dark horses going into next year?
Dark horses going into next season.
Okay, before you answer, I've been meaning to say this to, I think it's who are you? Hold on. Duke Baylox. He wants Fluent and Chill NFL Live. So give me more details. I like the idea, but tell me what you're thinking. Okay, so your three dark horses for next season to win the chip, the NBA championship. Who are the three dark horses?
To win the NBA championship, dark horses. A team that we're not talking about, Cleveland, the Clippers,
That's fine.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. All right. Do you think Sacramento's a dark horse or not really?
Sacramento is definitely a dark horse. Now, they're going to be in a different space because they're not sneaking up on nobody this year. They are the hunted. Everybody knows who Sacramento is. You were a top 3 seed, so nobody's looking at them going, well, it's Sacramento. No, they're going to be in a different space this year.
All right. And here's my big news.
All right, 3 dark horses. 3 dark horses. Oh, I can give you my 3 dark horses. First of all,
That's right.
First of all, fragrance is smells. It's like chill. It's very springtime. It's very fresh. But I like the idea. Kevin Ducant, Fluently Chill might be the second fragrance because we can come up with another one. Maybe I'll make it a little bit more musky. With that being said, my 3 dark horses. It'll smell like old heads and Kobe cap. I'm gonna go. The Lakers are dark horse. The Lakers are dark horse. So I'm gonna take the Lakers. I'm gonna say, yeah, but no. Are you expecting the Lakers to win?
I mean, they were in the Western Conference Championship last year.
And you okay? Well, I get
it. Even though they got smoked, and you know how I feel about getting smoked. I don't think you're close, but they were in the Western Conference Championship last year.
I want to see. I want to get this right. I want to get this. I want to make sure I don't forget who my dark, because I don't know that I've really picked my dark horses yet. So I'm going off the cuff. So another team that I would say is a dark horse to win. Okay, I'm going to save the best one for last.
Now remember, Tone, a dark horse is somebody that ain't nobody talking about.
Sacramento.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take the Lakers out. Here are the 2 in the West, one in the East. That's going to shock you. Sacramento and the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was mine. Yeah.
And here's my true dark horse. The one team that I think can surprise the hell out of everybody and for sure come out of the East, which means they have a shot at winning an NBA championship as a dark horse, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh. All right, my 3 words: Clippers, Kings, and
Cleveland Cavaliers have defense, have scoring. Evan Mobley takes a step up, like you said, and becomes depoy. That team has a legit shot. All right, big news.
My big news. Monday I have an interview with PC.
Oh, you have an interview with PC. All right.
With PC.
Who?
There you go.
I have a job.
He got an interview with
PC. Player's Choice.
Yeah, you got an interview with
PC.
PC.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. Let's get it.
Just so you know, you brought up Timmy winning the NBA championship in his second year. You do know that team was loaded with vets. David Robinson was in year 10. Sean Elliott was in year 9. Avery Johnson was in year 9. The team was loaded with vets. Loaded.
Let's see. Super Chat says, where should Pascal go, Chill?
I actually like Pascal in Atlanta, to be honest with you. I like Pascal in Atlanta with Murray and with Trae Young. I think that he could get him more involved in the offense. I think another guy like that would really help him. I like Pascal in Atlanta. I'm feeling him.
Okay.
Now, it depends on what Atlanta would have to give up, but I like him in Atlanta.
Oh shit. Hello, can you hear me?
You're
yes,
live.
sir. What up?
Hey, so I had a question about the ongoing like KG versus Dirk debate. I feel like a lot of people really forgot how good Dirk was.
I think, man, Dirk is kind of, yes, I agree with you. I think people forget how good Dirk was. I think KG is more out there. We see KG talking all the time. And I think his persona is bigger than Dirk's. His personality is bigger than Dirk's. And listen, defensively, he was significantly better than Dirk. So if you choose kind of, if you like two-way players, if you go, I need a guy who can score and play defense, you're probably going to favor KG. I believe I have. Do I have Dirk? I got to look at my list. I might have. No, I think I might have KG over Dirk too.
But I think the play. Oh, sorry.
Dirk was a.
Why is Dirk over KG?
So I feel like the playoff performances outdo KG's. Like if you actually look early on in their career, especially KG with the Timberwolves, the only team he took to the West Conference Finals was actually a team with Sam Cassell. And Sam Cassell, if you actually look, was the offensive closer of that team, not KG.
Okay. Yep.
So I feel like Dirk, you can just get him the ball anywhere on the floor, and he will find a way to get you a bucket. Especially KG towards the end of his career was more of the pick and pop, and I feel like Dirk from 2003 to 2011, if you actually look like fourth quarter points, he's top 5 almost every year.
So let me ask you a question. If you needed a bucket, you get the ball to Dirk and he'd find a way. What if you needed to stop?
Don't stop there, Tone. Keep going. Don't stop there, Tone.
I want to stop there because I don't want to make it too hard. What if you
No. So I think there's more ways to get a defender than a scorer like Dirk, especially how many points and how clutch he was in the fourth. I feel like the gap between him and KG is pretty big.
I don't think it's that big at all. That's number one.
Especially
number two,
playoffs.
Your logic is based solely on buckets, and it doesn't involve anything else. And that year that they went to the Western Conference Championship, by the way, Sam Cassell was an All-NBA performer. That was the only time he played with somebody like that. That was it. He didn't play with nobody else like that for the rest of his career. Stephon Marbury.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stephon Marbury at that point. Stephon Marbury, he only had him for 3 years, and he was a kid when he had him. That's number one. Number two, we completely leave out the fact that year that the Mavericks won the NBA championship, just so you know, Dirk played 9 more years after that. 9 more.
There you go.
And I feel like the team, just like how KG's early career, they didn't put a team around him. They didn't put a team around Dirk after he won the championship.
Well, then
we're over time, so I don't mean to cut.
Sorry about that.
We are over time. I appreciate it. I will say, Chill, though, his name is Mavs Guy. So
absolutely, we know what it is. And that's not to take away from Dirk, because I think Dirk was awesome. The fact that he never was a double-digit rebound guy, I got a problem with that. Though.
He was in the playoffs, 25 and 10.
There you go. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Last one. RTOFD.
Salute, Fluent Chill. How you guys doing? So my question is
about the Detroit Pistons.
No. It's Detroit Pistons are included in this question, but who do you see out of the rebuilding teams that we've seen so far, like Orlando, OKC, etc., Pistons, have more of a possibility of winning the championship, and a team that you just flat out see this? No, I don't think they can just really compete for a championship.
Well, again, we're talking about winning the NBA championship, so a lot of luck goes in it. But Oklahoma City, on the other hand, I think that they're a lot closer. If you're talking about winning an NBA championship, they're a lot closer than Charlotte. They're a lot closer than Detroit. They're a lot closer than San Antonio right now.
I like Detroit in the East, as I mentioned before.
Yes, sir.
Right. Even like I said, I think Charlotte's the team that's going to be in last in the East. But I also like still in the East. But I also like Orlando. Like if we're comparing Orlando and OKC, and I know OKC has SGA, but here I don't think. Chill, man. Is this crazy? I don't think he's going to be there. I think he's going to want to get out.
I don't think that he's going to want to get out.
I really like, again, maybe this happens in Orlando too, like it always does. I like Orlando. I really like Banchero. So
I do too.
So I think Orlando would be the other one that I would pick. I would say Orlando and Detroit, who are perennial out of the playoffs. I think it's cyclical. I think in like 3 years, 4 years, they're going to be just staples in the playoffs every single year for a while. I really like they picked up Monty. Like I said, I like the roster. They got to probably have one too many, maybe two too many.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like we just gotta.
Yeah, they tweaked that a little bit.
We gotta retool our roster. But for me, I see OKC is very understandable. Is a safe prediction. I like Indiana, but some other players are a bit on the older side. But I really do like Tyrese Halliburton, and Benedict Mathurin. So I like that duo. So I would probably go OKC and the one and only Detroit Pistons. We just got to get Killian Hayes out of there. I don't want to see him near the court. So yeah. Those are my two picks, man. But appreciate y'all.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you.
It was good. It was good seeing you the other day on SB Talk Sports.
Yeah, man. Nah, you're welcome anytime. Same for Chill. Y'all are welcome anytime on our show, man. Have a great night.
Have a good night. Oh man. You know what? Do you know what time it is?
It's about that time. About that time, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, what's going on the panel tomorrow? Do you know what the topic is?
I don't know what it is yet, but we've had some interesting stuff, man. Yes, we've had some real interesting stuff to talk about.
I know what's on. I know what's on. Do you want me to tell you?
Please fill me in so I can be prepared.
You're going to be talking about the perfect team, Michael Jordan. And then that is going to lead into Open Gym. I don't know. Did you guys combine the shows together now, or does it just flow from one to the other?
No, it just flows from one to the other.
Like you drop off, and then Elf and Mars take over, because on the follow up of the panel's Open Gym is going to be Shock the World, talking about Jalen Green. So if you are around tomorrow, noon Eastern. No, what time do you guys start? 11 a.m. Eastern?
About 11 Eastern. 11 yes, sir, we do.
Check out the panel and right into Open Gym. And if you missed last night on PC Gridiron, Kansas City Chiefs great Dante Hall. Don't kick the ball to Dante Hall. The human joystick was on the show and chopped it up with us for a while. We had some reports from Trent and Trey and Dub, who went to New York Giants training camp. So as the football season starts to roll around, don't forget Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. to check out PC Gridiron. Until next week, though.
Take it light, but take it. Devin Hester should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, in the Hall.